Hello everyone, welcome to What If Issei Lost Everything and Got Teleported to Fairy Tale Part 2. Before we start, please go support IC Gremery01 for writing that awesome fanfic. This is the translated version I made. There will be some mistake in character's gender, but of course Issei is a male. Chapter 14. Shortly after, Lucy and Issei managed to catch up with Urza, Happy and Gray, who stopped to look at the brown-haired boy seriously. "Hey, how's it going about Deliora being dead?" Gray asked, approaching the brunette. "Well, that's right, he's dead, or more exactly, he's about to die," said Issei. "And how do you know that?" Gray asked. "Well, my armor has several functions, among them knowing when something is alive or dead. Since last night I was supposedly looking for Natsu, but in the end I ended up seeing that demon trapped in ice, who along the way. The person who trapped him must have been someone powerful to keep that demon trapped for so long, and kill it until the end," Issei commented, since that thing about the armor detecting life was great if they knew it was a lie in a certain sense. "She was the best," Gray said, looking down. "Did you meet her?" Issei asked, surprised. "She was my teacher. Her name was Yuar, along with Lion, the guy who wants to free Deliora's remains. We were her students until Gray counted until he stopped and grimaced in pain but sighed and spoke. Because of my impertinence she sacrificed herself to lock up Deliora," he said, causing Issei to be very surprised. The woman in the boosted gear was the teacher of the black-haired man, and his partner, who now seems to be one of the bad guys. "But why does he want to free Deliora?" Issei asked. "Because he thinks that this way he will be able to surpass Yuar. But there is something he doesn't know," Gray said, clenching his fist. "She physically disappeared, but she, Yuar, is still alive," he said seriously, shocking everyone except Issei. "Yeah?" Lucy expressed her surprise. Urza made a shocked face. "Is that possible?" Happy asked in disbelief. "Actually, yes," Issei commented. "Do you know what magic I use?" Gray asked. "Not the name, but its function. Basically, it turned its body into ice to enclose Deliora, and in the process it used all its magical energy to make this possible. So yes, your teacher is still alive in a way," said Issei as Gray acknowledged, and the two females plus a cat were surprised that Issei knew that. "What exactly happened for her to end up like this?" Urza asked. You see, 10 years ago," and so the black-haired man began to tell his story. 10 years ago his village where he lived with his parents was destroyed by Deliora. He was the only survivor, and it was thanks to Lion who found him that Yuar was able to take him with her. He stressed that he felt an immense hatred towards Deliora, so he joined Yuar and Lion to become strong and go against the demon. A few years passed where he still held hatred towards Deliora, but he saw in his teacher and Lion a new family. It was not until one day that he heard that Deliora was in a city north of where they were staying, and without thinking twice and ignoring Yuar's warnings he went to the place, only to see firsthand the horror of the demon. In the end he could not do anything and was going to be killed if it were not for Yuar, who went and saved him, and it was hard to see how the woman who cared for him with love gave her life to stop the demon, and at the end he used a magic called Ice Shield that basically turned Yuar into ice to seal Deliora. At the end of everything Lion asked about Yuar, because he admired the woman so much that he thought she was the strongest of all, and in the end he blamed Gray for her death, and in the end the then little Lion left Gray, saying that I have killed Yuar. In the end Lucy and Happy were shocked, Issei was somewhat surprised, and Urza seemed neutral but also showed that the story had impacted her. "But now that Issei said that Deliora is dead, I have to stop Lion. Because if he continues using the lunar drip he will kill Yuar for good," Gray said, turning around to continue on his way. In that Brum. Huh! Lucy turned to see where the sound was coming from, and she saw how the ruins literally tilted. "But what happened?" Happy asked, shocked. "That must be Natsu, we have to hurry," said Gray. At that point, a group of people dressed in occult clothing came out from among the undergrowth. "Ah, a group of widows," Happy shouted nervously. "Gray, you go to Natsu, we'll take care of this," said Issei, watching the group approach. "Yes, go, we will take care of it," said Urza, summoning a sword. "Okay, be careful," said Gray, running to another side, leaving the two girls, the boy and the brown-haired boy, in front of the large number of occultists. Don't let him escape, shouted one of the occultists. You better worry about yourselves, Issei said, lighting his hands on normal fire. We won't let them go any further, Urza said, standing next to Issei wielding two swords. Lucy did her thing, taking her whip, while Happy walked away to a safe place. Finish them, shouted the same occultist as his companions launched an attack. The huge group of about 40 occultists launched themselves at the three fairy tale members. Hike and Issei shouted, throwing a punch of fire that spread out, hitting 3 of those occultists. Take this, Urza shouted, launching slashes that severely damaged 4 occultists who fell with cuts on their chests. Lucy began to whip several subjects who screamed in pain. It was basically a one-sided massacre. Although Lucy was neither weak nor strong, that was why Urza stood out the most, since she was fast and precise, and in the end everyone was defeated. But how simple, said Issei, seeing the unconscious guys. Now we must go see what happened, said Urza, making the sword disappear. And so the 3 of them plus a cat headed towards the temple to see what had happened to Natsu and Gray, hoping that this whole matter was over. When they arrived, they entered and went down to the underground area of the place. Issei quickly entered, seeing a tired Gray who was holding an ice bazooka, while Gray's former partner was lying on the ground badly hurt, and Deliora's ice was slowly being destroyed. At least you're okay, said Issei as Gray undid the bazooka while sighing tiredly. The black-haired man sat on the ground as Deliora's roar was heard coming from underground. Apparently he had thawed after losing the soul that served as a support for the ice shield. Lucy was scared, seeing the demon, who seemed more intimidating than Lullaby. In the end, Deliora freed himself from the prison that had kept him captive for many years. Groea, the demon, roared loudly. His appearance is intimidating, but I've seen worse things, Issei said, remembering the beasts that attacked the underworld. It is impossible for you, let me surpass you are, said Lion, dragging a wounded man. Let's stop messing around and just give the name. What willpower, Issei commented, as he was surprised that, despite being so injured, Lion still wanted to surpass his teacher. Gray looked at that, annoyed and worried. Stop talking nonsense, Deliora is already dead, you are killed him a long time ago, you won't surpass anyone, Gray shouted as Lion looked at him annoyed. Don't say nonsense, I will defeat the only monster that you are couldn't defeat, said Lion, standing up with great strength, and looked at the demon who was still roaring. Lion began to walk slowly towards Deliora, being watched by everyone. I will defeat Deliora was the only thing Lion said in a futile attempt to get closer to Deliora, who only roared. Enough, Gray said from behind him, hitting him on the back of the neck, making him fall almost unconscious. It's over, Lion, he said, looking sadly at the man who was once his friend. Issei looked at Deliora, who was showing erratic behavior. How terrifying, Lucy commented, standing behind Issei with Happy. Without a doubt, it is worthy of a monster of its kind, said Urza, looking seriously at the demon. Issei, is he really dead? Gray asked as Lion, barely conscious, heard. Yes, it won't take long to fall, said Issei without stopping looking at Deliora. And said and done, the demon saw them and wanted to attack, but he couldn't because when he moved his arm to strike, it began to tremble and then... crack! A creaking sound was heard throughout the place. Huh! Lion couldn't believe what he saw. The demon he wanted to kill to surpass Deliora, began to crack like a piece of glass. Gray just watched that with mixed feelings and remembering his teacher's words. I will seal your nightmare. And that made him shed tears. In the end, Deliora exploded into pieces, making his death clear after 10 years of confinement. Gray Issei spoke as the black-haired man looked at him. Your teacher was undoubtedly an exceptional magician, he commented, making the black-haired man smile. Yes, it was the best, said Gray, proud to have been his disciple. And in the end it all ended. Hours later. How can we solve this situation? Lucy asked with a defeated expression. I don't know, but there's something fishy here, said Issei, walking with the others towards the village. But I'm free, said Happy. It's just an expression, Issei said. At the end, the S-rank mission is not over, as the curse that fell upon the village was not part of the demon, but possibly that has to do with the moon drip. But Lion commented that he doubted that since he and his companions were exposed to that magic for 3 years. After a while they arrived at the town, which was in better condition than the night before, which surprised everyone, until finally the town chief spoke. "Wizards, please tell me, when do you plan to destroy the moon?" asked the village chief. "Destroy the moon?" Issei asked, confused, as if he were Great Red or Trihexa or worse, or even Rashi. "That will be easy," Urza commented. "Huh!" Issei was incredulous at what the redhead said. "You're saying something absurd," as if it were nothing, Gray said at what Urza said. Before doing what the village chief asked, Urza asked everyone to gather together because she wanted to make sure of something, and she started talking, and when she was about to fall because of the obvious trap the boys created, Issei saved her. "Careful," Issei said, taking her by the collar of her armor. "Thank you," she said, embarrassed for almost falling like a fool into the trap. She continued to comment on how strange it seemed to her that the villagers had not gone to the ruins to investigate what was happening, even though the Mu Ping drip ritual had been carried out for 3 years. Until the village chief said that they tried, but strangely every time they got close to the ruins they ended up back at the entrance of the village. And Issei, seeing that, a kind of epiphany came to their mind, because if they did not remember how their transformation happened and they did not find answers for 3 years, added to the fact that according to Lion they did not have any negative effects from being exposed to magic, it only meant one thing. They were never human, Issei thought in surprise. "I assumed so," Urza said before immediately using her magic and changing her armor to a different one. "Then I will destroy the moon," she said, holding a spear that came with the armor. "Can I help you?" Issei asked. "Please," Urza said as Issei agreed. "Okay, then let me put on my armor," said Issei, entering Balance Breaker. "Great," said Happy and Natsu, seeing the red armor. Boost, 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 boost. The boosts were given and the brown-haired boy touched Urza's shoulder transfer and transferred all the energy of the boosts. Urza opened her eyes wide as she felt a sudden wave of energy run through her being. It was enormous, much more than she thought. "What did you do to me?" Urza asked, surprised to feel such energy. "I increased your power 10 times, now you are 10 times more powerful," Issei said calmly, surprising the redhead. "That armor of yours is better than any of my armor," Urza said, more than surprised. "I want to try it on now," Natsu said, more than excited. "Stop bothering you, walking match," said Gray, bothering Natsu. But they were ignored as there were more important things to do. "So, are you planning to throw your spear at the moon?" Issei asked. "Yes," Urza said, feeling capable of that and more. "Well, although it is impossible for you to do that, but having an idea of what you want to do it," Issei said, smiling. Urza agreed and prepared herself. HAA and Urza with her new strength threw the spear with great speed towards the sky. Issei took off his armor and looked to see what would happen next. Everyone was waiting expectantly to see what would happen, when... Bam! Crash. "Huh! Did the sky just break?" Lucy asked. "Yes, that happened," Issei said. "But why?" Gray asked. "It's simple. The island was covered by an evil blanket created by the dripping of the moon, that formed a floating dome, and that's what caused the moon to be purple on this island," Urza explained, surprising everyone. "And in the end everything was resolved." "Did you see him?" asked the masked man that Natsu fought hours ago. "He was sitting on a tree branch where he observed the situation in the village." "Yes, without a doubt that boy has very interesting abilities," commented a female voice drawn from the crystal sphere located next to the subject. "If you think about it, he could become a nuisance if he gets in the way of our plans. His power is not normal," the masked man commented. "We must keep an eye on him apart from Fairy Tail. His presence is an anomaly in itself, one that could be very troublesome in the future," the woman said calmly. "Yes, I think," the masked man began to dissolve into smoke when his true appearance was revealed. "Still, that boy is a potential obstacle," said the woman, who was none other than Altair, the counselor that Issei met when he was used as a scapegoat. The next day. Magnolia. "We're back," Natsu shouted, spitting fire. The group returned after that mission. In the end they did not accept the money, but they did accept the key which was given to Lucy. Issei sighed. That had been an interesting experience. He looked at his left arm, remembering what he did, and then looked at Gray, who began to fight with Natsu as always. "I'd better not tell her anything yet," I don't want to give her false hopes, thought the brown-haired boy, now knowing that the soul of Gray and Lion's teacher is the one in the boosted gear. No, anything but that. Natsu's scream brought him out of his thoughts. I watch as the pink-haired boy is dragged by Urza. What's wrong? Issei asked Lucy. Well, I don't know, but suddenly Urza commented something about that and well, Natsu got scared, Lucy said, just as confused as him. Well, it must be something horrible for him to get like that, Issei said as they continued on their way, but I noticed that people were murmuring as I watched them. That confused him. Is something wrong? Lucy said, looking confused at the people who were murmuring. Everyone was confused, and when they turned through the cathedral straight to the street that leads to Fairy Tale, they were stunned. Don't buck with me, Issei said, shocked. Our guild, Natsu shouted. And it was no surprise, as the guild had several enormous iron pillars crossing the building that was demolished. One problem ends, a new one begins. Chapter 15. Shortly after. Fairy Tale Basement. The group that had just arrived from Galena Island went down with Mirjane, who told them that another guild was responsible for this, although Issei didn't understand, nor did Lucy, but it was because they were new. They went down to the basement where everyone was gathered, the atmosphere being depressing. The newly arrived group went to where Makarov was sitting peacefully drinking beer. Oh guys, welcome, said Makarov with his usual attitude. We're back, master, said Urza, somewhat calm. Grandpa, you're not in such a nice position, don't you think? Natsu shouted, annoyed by the situation. Issei simply sat at the bar and asked Mira for something to drink, who with a sad expression served him. While Makarov simply scolded the three who took the job of Galena Island without permission, he gave Natsu and Gray a karate chop while he spanked Lucy, only to be scolded by Mira. So, tell me, how did all this happen? Issei asked. Yes, how can you be so calm? You destroyed our guild, Natsu shouted. Okay, calm down, it's not that bad, said Makarov, sighing. How? The newcomers shouted, except for Issei, who was surprised by the calm with which he took the whole matter. They're phantom, this is as far as they're going to go, besides, it's not that much of a problem. After all, they just attacked an empty guild, said Makarov, and then took a drink from his beer. What do you mean, empty guild? Issei asked. It seems they attacked at midnight, Mirjane said. So no one got hurt, Issei commented. Fortunately, because otherwise the situation would not be the same, said Laki. So stay calm, there is no need to worry about those who resort to surprise attacks, said Makarov, smiling carefree. Pam. I'm not going to accept that, I'm not going to feel good until I crush them, Natsu shouted, annoyed by the situation. Calm down, if the master doesn't want to fight it's for a reason, said Issei. You don't understand, they destroyed our guild, our home, Natsu shouted angrily, looking at Issei, who continued to drink calmly. And? Issei's answer left three of the newcomers speechless. They destroyed the guild, yes, something material. It's better that they be thankful that no one was hurt, because there would have been a problem there. So stop yelling, because yelling won't fix anything, he said calmly, leaving Natsu silent. Issei is right, so don't get too worked up, here we'll take the jobs while we repair the guild. End of conversation, said Makarov. Well, I'm going to the bathroom, he said, getting off the bar to go to the bathroom, leaving them there. Natsu, even if it doesn't seem like it, the master is just as shocked as we are, Mirjane said, looking at Natsu with concern. Also, according to what I read, clashes between guilds are prohibited by the council, said Issei, who had to read several laws regarding guilds to know what is done and what is not done. But they attacked us first, Natsu said indignantly. That's another thing, Issei commented as he continued drinking. In the end it was all like that, they had to accept what the teacher said, and if they didn't want to fight, then there would be no fights. Hours later. Evening. With that the night came and everyone went to their homes. Aren't you going to your apartment? Lucy asked Issei, who was walking with her towards the apartments. No, something doesn't smell right to me, Issei said seriously. Are you talking about what happened to the guild? Lucy asked. Yes, if they were able to attack the guild, nothing prevents them from attacking one of the members, and according to what Mirjane-san said, only the Shadow Gear team is out on a mission and they were waiting for them today, so unless they come at night, They could be an easy target for that guild that attacked Fairy Tail, said Issei seriously. Because he had to think about the possibilities. Plus he knows that attacks like that don't stop at simple destruction of property. Well, if you put it like that, it is worrying, Lucy commented worriedly. Because she and Levi are friends and she doesn't want anything bad to happen to her. That's why I'm going to take a walk around Magnolia. I don't want something to happen while we're resting, said Issei. Will you be okay alone? Lucy asked worriedly. Yes, I'll be fine. It's not something I haven't faced before, Issei said with a smile. Just take care of yourself, okay? She said she didn't want the brunette to get hurt, just to make sure nothing happens tonight. You stay calm, and I'm nervous. Nothing will happen, said Issei with a hand on Lucy's shoulder, who sighed to give him a smile. At the end he left her in the apartments. Seeing that there was no one there at that time, he simply took out his wings and flew away. Using his enhanced vision from being a dragon, he could see more than a hawk overhead. Coupled with the enhanced night vision from the demonic and dragon part of his being, he could see clearly at night. He was hanging around the station area, since the last trains didn't arrive until 10 at night, and if Mary Jane had told him something correct, then he would have to make sure that the Shadow Gear group didn't have any mishap. Lucy's apartment. In Lucy's apartment were her and Urza. Well, there were supposed to be 4 of them, but there were only the 2 of them. So he went to make sure nothing happened to them in case they came back later, said Urza, surprised by what she heard. Yes, that's why he's not in his apartment. I hope they don't knock or break into Issei's room, Lucy said, knowing that Natsu and Gray would be in Issei's room and those 2 alone are a disaster. That was a bit risky. You should have told him not to go, Urza said seriously. She wouldn't have listened to me. She seemed determined to be on guard. Nothing I could have said would have changed her mind, Lucy said with a sigh. Bam. Urza, I think you should go see those 2, Lucy said nervously as she heard knocks coming from the next room, which is Issei's. HAA, come on, Urza said, standing up to go to Issei's room. I hope nothing happens to you, she thought, because she cares about each member regardless of whether they are new or not. 1 hour later. Issei was still flying over the station while eating a donut and drinking coffee. Watching as the last train arrived at the station, he waited for everyone to leave to see if the Shadow Gear team came out. He didn't have to wait long when he saw the 3 members of that group come out smiling as they talked about how the mission had gone. Issei, seeing that, he finished his donut and coffee and then dropped into an alley to walk out of it. I look at the group, who noticed it instantly. Issei? What are you doing here? Jet asked, looking at the brown-haired boy. I'm here to find you and take you home. We're in a delicate situation where you could be attacked, Issei said, surprising the group. Huh? What happened? Droy asked, surprised. They attacked the guild, as I heard, a rival guild called Phantom Lord, said Issei, surprising the group. The master let them pass because they only damaged the guild without anyone inside, but I don't think this will stay like this. That's why I came to escort them. Just in case they attack them on the way to their homes, he said as the group was nervous. Do you really think they're capable of attacking us? Levi asked nervously. People are capable of many things in order to hurt others, but don't worry, I won't let anything happen to you, Issei said, giving them a thumbs up. And with that the 4 of them began to walk, Levi, Jet and Droid being nervous as they looked around. At that time the streets were deserted, you could barely see a cat or 2 around. The shops were closed. Well, some bars were open and a brothel or 2, but from then on everything was silent. Until they saw something blocking their way away. The trio couldn't see it well because of the darkness, but Issei looked at it perfectly. It was a black-haired guy with metalhead looks who was smiling while chewing a nail with his mouth. Stay behind me, Issei said, and they obeyed. Without saying a word, the subject attacked by throwing a huge iron pillar at the group. But Issei was not far behind, and entering Balance Breaker he threw a punch at the pillar. Bam! And the pillar was smashed to pieces. You are strong, Gijiji, the guy laughed, seeing that Issei was not weak. Issei didn't say anything and moved at an impressive speed that took the subject by surprise, who was barely able to dodge a punch directly to his face. But he couldn't do anything when Issei spun around, giving a side kick that hit the subject. The subject couldn't help but spit out saliva with some blood in it, and felt a horrible pain in his side. He was thrown a few meters to the right, but he managed to stabilize himself and looked annoyed at Issei. That hurt, damn it, the black-haired boy shouted angrily. And it will hurt more if you don't say leave, Issei beginning to increase his power steadily. But the black-haired boy was stubborn and launched himself at Issei. The black-haired man transformed his arms into iron, masses of iron, and launched a blow against Issei's armor. Bam. But nothing. Bam bam. But nothing again, and that began to bother him. Bam 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 bam. I threw many punches changing the clubs to spiked balls, but nothing. Issei didn't move from his spot. The only sounds that could be heard were the banging and the word boost coming from the armor. Are you done? Issei asked, looking at him seriously. Damn idiot, it's because of that damn armor that I can't do anything to you, the black-haired man shouted angrily. Seeing that it was useless, his attacks did nothing to that armor. Issei didn't say anything. Yes, it was because of the armor, because without it he would possibly get hurt, not that much but still hurt. But he wasn't one to make mistakes, so he would go all out against his enemy. This world had taught him that, and he shouldn't underestimate him, especially knowing that this guy is a dragon slayer like Natsu, but made of iron. Issei changed the structure of the armor into a tower, turning it into heavy armor, surprising the black-haired man. You already hit. Now it's my turn, Issei said to throw a powerful punch, but the black-haired man managed to dodge it easily since the armor was slow. The black-haired man grew led, and seeing that he couldn't do it with Issei, he looked at Shadow Gear, who were hiding since they didn't want to leave Issei alone. The black-haired boy rushed towards them, and that annoyed Issei. Change Star Night, the armor became light, and in less than a second Issei was between the black-haired man and the group. What the buck? I shouted in surprise, as he could barely see a red blur. Chang's solid impact, another sound was heard, and the heavy armor returned. Grit your teeth, Issei said, preparing the blow. The black-haired man could only cover himself with his iron-clad arms to receive the blow. Bam! Ugh, even though he was covering his arms he felt pain, but it was worse when the next thing happened. The elbow mechanism of the armor was a hammer that began to hit many times, and that only increased the damage. Tum-tum-tum-tum-tum by him. And with a powerful blow the black-haired man was thrown away with his arms almost destroyed and spitting blood. Agh, he screamed, feeling his chest almost crushed and his arms broken. Issei watched as he flew for several blocks until he fell and rolled on the ground. Issei sighed and looked at the group, who were surprised. It's better to go, Issei said, undoing the armor. Are you going to let him go? Jet asked. Yes, he won't be able to fight anymore. I caused him a lot of internal damage, said Issei. But he looked just in case, seeing that the black-haired man was no longer there. Whatever, let's go. I'll leave them where they live, he said, and the trio agreed. And so the four of them walked calmly through the streets again, the three of them thanking Issei for protecting them because they doubted they could stand up to the black-haired man. I dropped the boys off at the guild's men's dormitories and Levy at Fairy Hills, then head to her apartment. Why didn't you kill him? Drake asked curiously. The truth is, I didn't need to die, just a lesson, said Issei, because if he belonged to a legal guild it was for a reason. You know he might come back for revenge, right? Drake asked. And I'll be waiting for him, said Issei, entering the apartments. He went up to the second floor and went straight to his apartment. He was about to open it, but he felt two presences inside and sighed, opening the door. Oh, welcome, greeted Gray in boxers sitting on his armchair. Your apartment is really nice, Natsu commented while sitting on a chair. I said, happy? I won't ask why you are here, just go. I'm sleepy, said Issei, walking to the bed. Come on, we're here because of the situation we're going through. Don't let them attack us while we're sleeping, said Natsu. It's better to be together, said Gray. Okay, but don't make noise or I'll kick you out of here, said Issei, throwing himself on the bed to sleep, because the truth is, he's sleepy and he has to wake up early tomorrow. Okay, Natsu said, smiling. In the end, she kicked them out of the apartment because they started arguing about stupid things and Urza scolded them in the middle of the street. Chapter 16. The next day. Fairy Tale. What do you mean? They almost attacked you. Makarov shouted indignantly upon hearing what Levy told him about last night's event. Yes, but thanks to Issei nothing happened. He managed to defeat the magician who attacked us, said Levy. But that didn't appeal to Makarov's anger. Do you know who it was? Makarov asked seriously. If I'm not mistaken, it's the Iron Dragon Slayer, Gajil, said Levy, as he was known throughout Fiori for his magic and for being one of the best members of Phantom Lord. Issei was silent at a distant table, because he went to train and the same thing happened again. He didn't understand what was happening. What was that dark shadow that was stalking him in that place? Was it some creature? Some entity? Was it related to his magic? That and more had him lost, in addition to scared, because maybe that is why his emotional state was altered, because when he gets angry he gets really angry, to the point of wanting to kill someone, and that was seen in his most recent mission where he yelled furiously at Urza, and although he apologized, he is worried that all of that will explode in a bad way. Hey Issei, are you okay? Lucy asked, sitting at the table where Issei is. Huh? Issei came out of his thoughts, seeing the blonde who looked at him somewhat worried-eyed. Yes, I'm fine, just remembering some things, he said with a small smile. She thought it was probably about her home, so she didn't say anything. Well, thanks for helping Levy-chan's group. It would have been bad if they were hurt because of that guy, said Lucy. You don't have to thank them. We are all allies here, and I know that if I had been in the same situation as them, they would have gone to help me, said Issei, smiling. At that, the two saw how almost the entire guild came out following the master. Huh? What happened? Lucy asked. Levy, who stayed, approached them. What happened? Where is everyone going? Issei asked. They're going to Oak. They want to fight Phantom Lord, Levy said nervously. It seems that now they have bothered the teacher, Issei commented. He wanted to avoid conflict, but what happened last night bothered him, because he didn't expect them to attack us. For him that is unforgivable. That is why he went with the others to fight with that guild, said Levy, sitting down next to Uncle Lucy. Well, let's pray for Phantom Lord, said Issei, as he was confident that they would beat them up. Hours later. You're already late, said Lucy, walking with Issei back to her apartment. Well, Oak isn't that far away, but I imagine it's because they're fighting that it takes them a long time, said Issei. Yes, possibly, Lucy said. At that point drops began to fall from the sky. Huh! Lucy looked up, seeing that the once clear sky had turned cloudy and started to rain. Rain, it was about time, said Issei, feeling the drops of water hitting his body, as it was something relaxing after so much heat. In that drip, drip, drop, constant and silent, yes, Juvia always brings the rain with her, constant and silent, the one who said that she was a beautiful young woman with blue hair and pale skin wearing a winter outfit that reminded Issei of what the Russians she wore, that hat she was wearing. The brown-haired boy frowned upon seeing her, since her appearing out of nowhere was something serious. Lucy, don't you ever leave me alone, Issei said seriously. Huh? The blonde was confused, but seeing that woman there meant that something alarmed the brown-haired boy. The blue-haired girl stared at Issei and he at her. Nice rainy day, isn't it? Issei said, looking calm. Huh? Although that took the blue-haired girl by surprise. Do you think that the rain is beautiful? She asked, surprised. Well, it depends on who you ask. My mom doesn't like it when it rains when she has her clothes drying, but I like being in the rain, said Issei, surprising and making the girl blush. Juvia didn't expect that you like the rain. Juvia goodbye. It was a pleasure, she said, blushing, and walked quickly back the way she came. Huh? Not only was Lucy puzzled, but so was Issei. Non, a male voice was heard out of nowhere, and appearing next to the blue-haired girl who could barely control her blush, was a guy with orange hair, wearing a suit and a monocle, looking French. Bonjour, with a rhythm of non 337, said the guy with a very strange pose. Issei was now serious. Another guy, and this one was weird. Juvia-sama, you can't get away from your target, said the strange man to the blue-haired girl named Juvia. Monsieur Soul, Juvia said, looking at the newcomer. My monocle tells me that Mademoiselle is our Sibyl, said Soul, now that Issei did indeed summon the boosted gear. I recommend you leave or face the consequences, said Issei, looking fiercely at the two. No, calm down. We just came for. But Issei didn't let him finish when in a second he shortened the distance with him, leaving him still. I don't care what you came for, get out of here. And after saying that, he gave him a powerful punch in the face with the gauntlet. Pam! Soul was thrown away and his face was almost disfigured as blood came out of his mouth. He had been left unconscious. That left Juvia stunned, who didn't think everything would start so quickly. Issei looked at her seriously. Do you want to fight too? I asked, looking at her. He wouldn't stop even if it was a beautiful woman he was facing. Juvia was speechless. On one hand she wanted to finish the job, on the other she didn't want to hurt the boy who said he likes the rain. I see, we better go, Lucy said, making herself noticed. Juvia looked at her, and seeing how she referred to the brunette, made her feel jealous. You are the target, I have to take you either by good or by bad means, Juvia said, using her magic. In seconds Issei and Lucy were trapped in huge spheres of water. Damn, Issei thought because he didn't act quickly. Juvia is sorry for what he did to you, but I can't put aside the goal of our guild, Juvia said regretfully. Issei wouldn't stay still inside that water prison. She looked on in surprise as armor covered Issei, and that caused the sphere of water holding him to explode. Okay girl, either you let Lucy go or I'll send you to the hospital. It's your decision, said Issei, looking menacing with the armor on. Why do you worry about her? Forget her and come with Juvia. I'm better than her, said Juvia, annoying Issei. But Issei wasn't there for that. He watched as Lucy was riding inside the sphere. The lack of air, she was drowning. Furious splash. Issei was quick to enter that sphere of water to get Lucy out of there. Cough, cough, cough. Lucy started coughing while spitting out the water. Issei looked at the blue-haired girl, who looked upset, but he didn't have time for this. I look at the road, empty, no one but the unconscious soul lying there, so I prepare my next move. Why? Juvia shouted furiously while a lot of steam came out of her body. Why do you choose her and not Juvia? She shouted, making the brown-haired boy even more uneasy. Miss, I don't know what you mean, but there you see it, said Issei, extending his left hand to throw a sphere of power that exploded on the ground in front of Juvia. Kaya! Juvia screamed as she was thrown away by the wave of the explosion. Issei didn't wait any longer and took Lucy back to the guild. She was all wet and unconscious. Who were they and why were they after Lucy? He asked himself, confused. But he didn't think about it anymore and returned to the guild. Juvia woke up a little stunned. That explosion was strong, but she was more upset and jealous of Lucy, because as crazy as it may seem, she liked Issei for how he liked the rain, something that she has not seen in her hard life, because everyone hates the rain. Ugh, what happened? Soul woke up feeling an ugly burning sensation on his face. My face hurts, said the man. In the end they failed in their capture plan. Time after. Fairy tale. How do you feel? Issei asked Lucy, who was already recovered and changed her clothes. I feel better, thanks for helping me there, Lucy said, smiling at the brunette. Whenever you want, Issei said, smiling slightly. Why did they want to take you with them? Asked Mary Jane, who was the only one who remained in the guild. I don't know, were they kidnappers? Lucy said, because she had to deal with people like that a long time ago. Well, that's probably it. I mean, there are people who steal beautiful girls to sell them, Issei said, speculating. Do you really believe that? Mary Jane asked. It may be possible, said the brown-haired boy. At that, the doors of the guild were abruptly opened by everyone. The three of them looked at the group, but froze when they saw what Urza was carrying. It was a battered Makarov. What happened to the teacher? Lucy asked, scared. It was a phantom wizard. He took his power and then attacked him, said Urza, annoyed by the situation. Issei became serious. Now those clowns have gone too far, said Issei, ready to fight. No, leave that, said Urza, who looked at Issei's intentions. It would be better to take the master to Porliusica so he can recover better, said Mira Jane, seeing the master's condition. We'll take him, said a beautiful young woman with green hair dressed as a cowgirl. Next to her was a man with long black hair wearing a poncho. They are Biska and Alzak, According to Mirajane, they are in love with each other, but neither of them take the next step. That reminded Issei of his history with Rias. I'll go with you, said Urza, still carrying the master. So the group left, because this was a big problem. It's not even noon, and we're already in trouble, Issei said with a sigh. The teacher was hurt. They tried to kidnap Lucy, and possibly those Phantom Lord clowns will come to bother later. Do you know? Issei spoke, drawing the attention of everyone nearby. If those clowns come for more, I'll kick their asses so hard they'll have to shit through their mouths, he said furiously. Rage was beginning to take control of him. Yes, we will get revenge for what they did to the master, said Natsu, supporting Issei. Those bastards shouldn't have messed with us and played dirty, said Gray, also annoyed by the current situation. And so one by one they joined, because the truth is they were pissed off. What happened was something that made them quite angry. But only one person looked at Issei's state. Issei, are you okay? Lucy asked, looking at the brunette's face. He was more serious than usual. He seemed angry, no, furious. No, Lucy, I'm not okay. The master is injured. Those clowns would have killed him if possible. I don't know what they want to provide with that, but if I'm sure of one thing, it's that they want to be destroyed to the foundations, said Issei with such aggression that it made the blonde nervous. Issei-kun, calm down. You're scaring Lucy, said Mirajane, seeing how the brunette was showing a side that he hasn't shown before. Issei opened his eyes in surprise. It couldn't be. Relax, buddy. If you keep going like this, you'll have another fit of rage, said Drake as Issei sighed, relaxing his expression. I'm sorry, I'll go for a walk, Issei said, getting up from the chair and heading straight to the basement exit. I see. Wait, Lucy said worriedly. Leave him. I think he needs to be alone for a moment, Mirajane said. Lucy simply looked worriedly at where Issei went. Issei was in a cafe near the guild drinking a cup of coffee. Shit, why am I becoming such a violent person? He asked himself worriedly. You've been like this since you learned that fire magic, so it probably has something to do with your attitude, said Drake. The problem is that the book is incomplete, and nothing is mentioned about a change in the personality of the person who learns it, said Issei, letting out a sigh of frustration. In that p.m. Issei looked in amazement as something came approaching from behind the guild. Walking on 4 huge legs, a bucking building was approaching through the sea area behind the guild. Obviously, the presence of that thing scared people who began to move away from the place. Issei paid for what he consumed and hurried to the place. The final fight against Phantom Lord was about to begin. Chapter 17. Moments later. Inside Phantom Lord. Issei quickly arrived at the back of the guild. Everyone was already gathered there watching that building walk towards them. What the hell is that thing? Issei asked. Son Phantom answered in incredulous Macau. Everyone was in disbelief at what they were seeing. They didn't expect Phantom Lord to attack them head-on and literally bring the guild here. At that, the guild stopped moving and stuck to the ground. At that, something came out from the top of the guild entrance. Shit, Issei said, summoning the balance breaker. It was obvious that they would use some kind of cannon against them. I will rise as the Sekyudai, who keeps the essence of the King. High Issei began to recite while his power began to increase, drawing everyone's attention. I see? Lucy said, surprised by that. Natsu was surprised. He had long since gotten used to the fact that Issei smelled like a dragon, but now that scent had increased a lot. Clinging to absolute hope and the indestructible dream as I walk the path of justice, he continued with the chant, while his armor began to shine brightly. Urza was surprised. She didn't expect Issei's armor to change like that, because she could feel the increase in power from it. I will become the Crimson Dragon Emperor. Issei's armor shone in a strong crimson light that armored more than one. If it's a dragon, said Natsu, shocked, while Gray beside him remained still. What did you say? Asked the surprised black-haired man. And I will guide you to the paradise that shines with the true crimson color. Now everyone was surprised, as a deep voice came from the armor. At that, Issei's power rose, causing a slight tremor that shook the area surrounding them. Crimson Cardinal Full Drive Drake's voice was heard when the light went out, and in its place was Issei's powerful crimson armor, leaving everyone speechless. While Kana said, seeing the color of the armor. At that, the cannon that came out of the Phantom Guild began to charge energy, But Issei did not stay still. Let's see which cannon is stronger, Issei said seriously as he began to give increases. Boost, 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 the increases came quickly. Not only the dragon aura was charged, also ether nano, which only increased the power of the armor. Fong blast booster and that two huge cannons appeared on Issei's shoulders, leaving everyone surprised. The armor changed, Wakaba shouted in surprise. His power is enormous, Mirajane said, stunned. Phuish. Phantom's cannon was launched. Dragon Blaster, Issei shouted as his two cannons fired a powerful cannon. Phuish. Boom. The two energy blasts collided, causing an explosion at the point of collision. Everyone was surprised. They didn't think that Issei had such power with him. Jose Porla, who watched everything from a room high up in his guild, was shocked. He's withstanding Jupiter's shot, Jose said in surprise. The power of the cannon is something. At least a good part of the city would have been destroyed with a direct shot. But I don't expect Fairy Tail to have someone who could fire a cannon shot of the same power. Damn, this is getting a bit annoying, Jose said angrily. Everyone watched as Issei held back Jupiter's shot, not expecting him to achieve something like that and be calm. Boost, 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 Issei didn't stop making increases, because he had to stop the firing of that weapon. The guild members watched in amazement as Issei managed to keep the cannon's laser at bay. No, he was making it retreat. Come on, beat those bastards, Natsu shouted. And so the guild members began to applaud the brown-haired boy who only increased his power further. Come on, Issei shouted, increasing his attack power. Overcharge was heard from the armor, and the power exploded suddenly, causing Issei himself to be thrown back a few meters. From where he was, Jose watched with his eyes open as the man in armor managed to overcome the power of Jupiter. Shit, I screamed as the lightning went straight to where they had the lightning. Boom. The explosion shook and then a large part of it collapsed. My guild, Jose shouted, seeing how the guild lost a part of it, since Issei's attack left a hole after destroying Jupiter. Those from Fairy Tail were surprised. The Phantom Lord Guild was damaged after receiving such an impact that it exploded far away in the middle of the sea. Issei lost his armor and fell to his knees with a lot of sweat coming out of his body. I think I overdid it, Issei said, feeling tired. Lucy came over to help him. Are you okay? The blonde asked worriedly. Yes, just a little tired, said Issei. Come, let me help you, Lucy said, helping him to stand up. How do you feel? The one who asked that was Urza, who approached wearing nothing but a towel. Issei blushed when he saw her but looked away. He didn't want her to get upset. Just tired, for the rest I'm fine, said Issei, breathing tiredly. Urza nodded and looked at the enemy guild, as black-clad men began to emerge from it. They keep attacking, shouted Alzak, preparing his weapons. Give me Lucy Heartfilia if you want to live until tomorrow. The voice of an annoyed Jose was heard through the speakers outside the guild. Hearing that, they were surprised. Everyone turned to see Lucy, who was stunned. Who doesn't know that last name? Well, they are one of the richest families in all of Fiori, and it turns out that Lucy is part of that family. Buck you bucking idiot, I'll kick your ass first before I hand over a friend, Issei shouted angrily. That made everyone react and start yelling angrily at Jose. Because whoever Lucy is, she is now part of the big family that makes up the guild. In that they saw something surprising. The Phantom Guild, still damaged, stood up, but began to change. Don't buck with me, a Megazord, said Issei, watching as the enemy guild transformed into some sort of giant robot. That also amazed them all. You asked for it, now you will perish before our best weapon, the giant super magician Phantom MK2, shouted Jose as everyone from Fairy Tail was amazed at such a thing. The guild members watched as the robot began to move its hands, creating a magic circle, while the enemies approached to attack. A magic seal, that building is a magician, Kana shouted in surprise. The seal of the abyss, that bastard is crazy, Issei said, remembering having read about that spell that is supposed to be forbidden. It can't be, Lucy scared said. We have to stop them, Urza shouted, now wearing her typical clothes. Let's go, Natsu shouted, charging towards the enemy. His plan is to go destroy that thing from within. Wait, idiot, Gray shouted, running after Natsu. As men we must stop our enemies. The one who shouted that it was Elfman who was running after the dynamite duo. Issei sighed and separated from Lucy. Wait! What are you doing? Lucy asked. I have to help them, said Issei, taking a breath. You can't go, you're sick, Lucy said worriedly. Lucy, it's not something I haven't dealt with before. Calm down, this will end, said Issei, smiling at the blonde. Lucy blushed a little when she saw him smile like that, but she shook it off and was going to stop him, but Issei had already walked away. I see, wait, she shouted, but the brunette ignored her. Don't worry, they'll be fine. For now we have to stop those idiots who are coming against us, Urza said seriously, seeing the large group of phantom magicians coming towards them. Issei ran while hitting one or another magician. He felt tired, but he wouldn't let that stop him. I watched Natsu propel himself with his fire towards one of the guild's windows, while Gray helped Elfman climb onto a trap that the black-haired man created. Issei sighed, and using his fire magic he rose to the sky. The propulsion was so great that he had to fall on the top of the robot. At that point it started to rain. Rain, wait, it's her, Issei said, knowing the reason for the sudden rain. And sure enough, I see Juvia coming to him holding her umbrella. We meet again, Juvia said, looking at Issei. Yes, Issei said seriously. Why are you doing all this for that, Lucy? Juvia asked suddenly. We are friends and friends take care of each other, Issei said without hesitation. That answer highlighted Juvia. You should give up and eat with Juvia. In the end they will lose and they will take that, Lucy, she said, extending her hand towards the brunette. That confused the brown-haired boy. Why does she want him to go with her? What's wrong with her? No matter how tempted I am to go with such a beautiful girl, I won't go. We will stop all of you, and we will start by throwing this imitation of a transformer down, said Issei, lighting his arms on black fire. Juvia blushed at the beautiful thing. It was the first time someone had given her a compliment like that. But she remembered that she wasn't here for that. She has a mission, and as such she must fulfill it even if it hurts her. Then forgive Juvia for not being merciful, she said, transforming her arms into water whips with which she attacked Issei at high speed. The brown-haired boy dodged the attacks by throwing spheres of black fire that she dodged, and those spheres exploded in the background, causing a lot of damage. Water cut, she said, throwing a sheet of pressurized water that the brown-haired boy had to dodge just to see it cut through the ground like butter. You are strong, Issei said, surprised. Water bullets, she said, launching several small spheres of water at high speed. Hellfire wall, the brown-haired boy shouted, sticking his hands to the ground to raise a wall of black fire that evaporated the water. Juvia thinks you're strong too, she said. Thank you, I practice every day, said Issei. The two attacked each other again, with Juvia launching a powerful jet of pressurized water at high power, while the brown-haired boy launched a powerful flamethrower from his mouth. The clash of both attacks raised an enormous curtain of hot steam. Issei took advantage of that to hide and attack by surprise. Juvia began to look around for Issei. I'm sorry, miss, but I have to defeat you, Issei said behind her, touching her shoulder. Huh! She was surprised to be taken by surprise. The chestnut tree jumped to avoid a water cut, but everything was already done. Don't hate me after this, Issei said with his right hand raised. Dress break, he said, snapping his fingers. Juvia was confused by that, when something happened. Her clothes, all of them, were destroyed to pieces, leaving her completely naked before Issei. The brown-haired boy saw the water mage's body, a perfect body with good measurements, and her breasts were bigger than what her coat allowed to be seen. I bleed a lot from my nose, and I saved that image in his album of naked girls' images. Kaya, and as was obvious, she screamed while covering herself. As I said, I'm sorry, Issei said, bowing and then carrying a sphere of fire that he compressed to make it the size of a marble. Juvia was more than upset, she was blushing, because she was naked in front of Issei, that boy who thinks that she and the rain are beautiful. So she paid little attention to the chestnut that was about to attack her. Issei was about to launch the attack, but a strong jolt destabilized him, and the attack shot into the sky. The small sphere of compressed fire went towards the sky, exploding into a huge flame of black fire that covered several meters. The explosion dispersed the clouds, revealing a blue sky. Juvia looked up, marveling at the sight. Well, you've never seen a sky as blue as this one. Ugh, could it have been the boys? Thought Issei sitting on the floor because he fell on his ass due to the strong jolt. Juvia turned to look at him and he looked at her. But the brown-haired boy looked away and without further ado took off his sweatshirt to throw it at her. Put that on, Issei said, and she didn't reply. She put on the brown-haired boy's sweatshirt, feeling a sense of warmth she'd never felt before. Issei stood up and looked at her seriously. Tell me, how do you stop that thing? Issei asked, pointing at the robot. You have to defeat us 4 elements to prevent the Seal of the Abyss from being completed, said Juvia. I see, well then forgive me again, said Issei, confusing her when the fast brunette positioned himself behind her and hit her on the back of the neck, knocking her unconscious. She didn't fall as Issei held her before that, then picked her up and sighed. She's too good for a shitty guild like this, Issei said, feeling that Juvia is a good girl in the wrong place. In the end, all that's left is to wait for the others to defeat their enemies. Because he's still tired and the little energy he had left he used against Juvia, who turned out to be powerful. Without further ado, I advanced looking for the inside of this robot. I would leave Juvia in a safe place, because in case one of those guys takes advantage of her, well, they may be great allies, but it is clear that they are idiots who would take advantage of her at the slightest opportunity. The battle to stop Phantom Lords still continues. Chapter 18. Moments later. Issei left Juvia in one of the rooms in that place, closed it so that no one could enter, and then began to search for an enemy. I hope you are okay, said Issei, because he knows that out of all of them there is a dangerous subject, the one who screwed the master by taking away his powers. If any of his friends found out, he could be screwed. Do you think that affects me or just my ether nano? Issei asked Drake. I couldn't tell you, the magic of this world is rare, so it wouldn't surprise me if one of those magics were to affect even me who is here inside, said Drake as Issei sighed. He decided to leave everything at that time and place, because his shitty luck might act by making him run into that guy who left the master in a bad state, only he wouldn't hold back once he had him in front of him. Enough of underestimating the magicians of this world. He walked through the halls of the place, defeating every subject that crossed his path when bam! A wild Natsu came through the wall along with a guy who was unconscious and completely beaten, and behind him was Happy. I see, Happy said with a smile. Hey Natsu. Happy, you really left him in a mess, he said, looking at the wizard who was hurt. Yeah, well, he asked for it, Natsu said, downplaying it anyway. What are you doing here? Have you found someone to fight yet? I have asked. Yes, but I already won, said Issei anyway. We have to defeat more of those guys to stop that spell, he said. Yeah, so do we split up or go together? Natsu asked. It's better to go together, just in case the idiot we ran into is strong, said Issei, as it was better to play it safely. Well then, let's kick their asses, and with that Natsu started running. Iwai said, Happy flying next to Natsu. Wait for me, Issei shouted, going after him. The interior of that place is like a labyrinth, and it was difficult for them to find a large space until. Phewish. Careful, said Issei, grabbing Natsu by the collar of his vest to prevent a taste of wind from hitting him. It's sad, the moment when the wings of fire break and fall, yes, and all that's left are the remains of the dragon, the one who said that he was a large subject dressed in black with a handkerchief covering his eyes. That guy is of the 4 elements, Happy shouted. They call me Arya, the summit of the 4 elements. I have come to kill the dragon, said Arya. Natsu was about to attack, but Issei stopped him. What's wrong? Let's beat him, Natsu said. Don't be an idiot. That guy is strong, so you can't go fight recklessly, said Issei, summoning the gauntlet. You have to hit that fatso with everything, he said, to put on the armor. It's you, the guy soul, and Juvia talked about how sad, another soul that faded away and left this world, said Arya, shedding crocodile tears. Not if I send you to meet your creator, said Issei, beginning to increase his power. Boost, 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 boost. The increases only came when the brown-haired boy began to emanate a dense red energy from his body which turned black. Ack, what power, said Natsu, surprised by Issei's power. Happy was sent flying by the gusts of wind coming from Issei. The brown-haired boy looked at Arya. He could defeat him in one go, but Natsu wanted to fight, so he pointed his arm at Natsu, confusing him. "What are you doing?" Natsu asked, thinking that Issei would attack him. "Giving you a hand," said Issei, releasing the energy, sending it towards Natsu. Transfer, and with that a ray of red energy hit Natsu, covering his body. Natsu thought he would just attack him, but then he felt a powerful surge in his power. "Now go beat him up, since I think that guy was the one who left the master in that state," said Issei, and Natsu was shocked, but Arya didn't help much. Poor soul, he still had many years left, but he still decided to die early, said Arya, confirming Issei's words. I'm going to kick your ass," Natsu shouted, bursting into flames from how upset he was. Issei stepped aside and left that guy to Natsu. "Well, I'm leaving. I'll leave that guy there," Issei said to Happy. "Wait, aren't you going to help Natsu?" Happy asked. "I already did it. He'll beat that bandit idiot up," Issei said, smiling as he started to leave anyway. "See you later," he said as he left down another hallway. Happy stopped looking at Issei and looked at Natsu, seeing how he was on fire. "I'm on fire," Natsu shouted, more euphoric than ever, and on impulse he shortened the distance with an astonished Arya Karya no Tekken, and he threw a powerful punch that the guy had to block. Boom! Each Arya was shocked, as Natsu's powerful punch sent him flying and in the process burned him as the Dragon Slayer's flames became more intense. With Issei, the brown-haired boy continued running through the halls, since he would now look for someone else of the four elements. The truth is that this battle has upset him. It was supposed that after returning from the island everything would be calm, but they find the guild destroyed. He faces a metalhead who throws metal, and in the process they have to defeat these guys inside them guild, which is a bucking transformer. I search and search when I arrive at a large room where I see the person responsible for all this. I see that one of Fairy Tale's cockroaches finally shows his face, said Jose, looking at Issei as if he were shit. So you're the old idiot who wants to take Lucy away by force, said Issei, looking at Jose without feeling any fear. You sure have a good vocabulary, you bucking brat. So what if I'm the one who wants to take the Heartfilia's daughter? None of you can stop me. Makarov was the only one, and he's not available, Jose said mockingly, belittling everyone's efforts. I've come across your kind. They think they're great and powerful over those who are weaker, but when they come across someone stronger than them, they're the first to ask for mercy, Issei said without showing a lot of emotion, and Jose was clearly annoyed by how he spoke. And do you feel capable of beating me? Jose asked, beginning to release his power, which was a dark aura along with some kind of creepy ghosts, while his eyes turned black. Issei didn't say anything. He assessed the situation, but in the end, I thought you would be stronger, and with that said he entered Balance Breaker. Boost, 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 Issei began with the increases that raised his power rapidly. Jose was surprised, seeing the powerful red aura emanating from the chestnut-haired man's body in armor, so much so that it made the place tremble. Idiot brat, don't get too smart, Jose shouted as he threw a torrent of dark energy at Issei. But Issei didn't stay still. In less than a second he dodged the attack and then moved towards Jose. Change solid impact, the armor changed, becoming thicker. Jose saw how Issei was going to hit him, so he covered himself with his magic and crossed his arms. Bam! Even with that, Issei managed to cause damage as he felt his arms almost break if it weren't for his magic. Jose was thrown far away, but he simply recomposed himself. Damn, you're strong, brat. But you won't beat me with strength alone, Jose shouted, launching a powerful attack with his magic that moved like a whip against Issei. The brown-haired boy didn't say anything. He simply dodged the attack with a jump and changed to night mode, increasing his speed while several white wyverns emerged from his back and began to surround the area. Huh! What are those things? Jose wondered, looking around. Issei charged several power-ups and threw 3 mini-dragon shots at the wyverns. Reflex, said the wyverns when they were hit, as the attacks bounced at high speed between the wyverns, confusing Jose. You shouldn't look the other way, old man, said Issei, appearing before a surprised Jose who angrily attacked. Don't underestimate me, brat, Jose shouted, trapping Issei in a dark wave that released a powerful electric shock. Issei didn't complain, but he did feel a little bit of the attack. But one of the attacks from before hits the wizard in the back. Jose complained when he felt the explosion on his back. BOM. Another hit his stomach, damaging him further. BOM. And the last one hit his head squarely, throwing him against a wall. Issei was released from the attack and stood there watching where Phantom's master ended up, and it didn't take long for him to come out, annoyed and hurt by the attacks. Bucking brat, you've already gotten on my nerves. Forget about living after killing you. I'll kill each member of your stupid guild one by one, and then kill Makarov after having made him see how he lost everything he loves, said Jose, releasing more magical energy from his body, starting to make the whole place shake. Issei didn't even flinch, as he has been in more terrifying situations, and dying twice made him not fear strong enemies. Jose was strong, yes, but being surrounded by monsters like Surzex or having seen the damn apocalypse face to face leaves that old man as a mediocre enemy. Issei released a total of 20 wyverns, white and red, and they began to surround the magician like flies, who began to get annoyed. HAA, let's do it, Issei said, getting serious as he began to release red aura from his body. I, the one who is about to wake up. I am the Red Dragon Emperor who upholds true justice. Jose watched as Issei began a strange chant as he felt his power suddenly rise. I have to stop that brat, he said, annoyed knowing that Issei would become dangerous if he finished that chant. Without further ado, several ghosts attacked Issei, but several white wyverns stood in their way. Reflect, the wyverns returned the attack. Boost, transfer, and the reds increased the power of the attack, forcing Jose to defend himself. TCH, these things are a bucking nuisance. I will hold on to infinite hopes and unbreakable dreams, and I will walk the path of justice. I will become the Crimson Red Emperor. Jose saw how Issei's power increased greatly while a dazzling red glow came out of his armor, shielding him. Shit, Jose shouted, covering his eyes. I will take you on the path of supremacy that shines in a deep crimson. Cardinal Crimson full drive. The glow covered the entire room as it began to crumble due to the violent shakes caused by the sudden release of power. Outside, everyone saw the powerful glow that came out of the main hall of the Mobile Guild, along with the powerful amount of magical energy that came from that place. Who could be the cause of this? Kana asked herself, tired of fighting so much. I hope it's not phantoms, because if not, we're lost, said Urza, looking a little tired from the fight. Don't worry, this is almost over, said to a voice that surprised everyone. Master Wakaba shouted, seeing Makarov, who was fine after recovering. Are you okay? Alzak asked. Yes, don't worry, poor Lyusica is good at her job, said Makarov, directing his gaze to where the red glow was fading. Master, what do you mean when you say everything is about to end? Urza asked. Because that's how it will be, everything is about to end, said Makarov, because he is the only one who knows who is there and where that red glow comes from. Defeat him, son, you are the only one besides me who can defeat Jose and stop this battle, he thought, trusting everything in Issei. Jose was surprised. He didn't expect a brat like Issei to possess such an amount of energy and power, and it only increased every second. Before him stood a suit of armor of a brilliant crimson color that had 2 large wings with a reddish energy membrane. You're finished, old man, said Issei, pointing at Jose. Buck you, brat, Jose shouted, using all his power, launching a powerful torrent of black energy with ghosts against Issei. Issei's aura began to rise, causing it to eventually explode into a powerful pillar of red energy that destroyed the ceiling, and the room ceased to be one. The attack hit Issei, causing a powerful explosion. Fong Blast Booster, the sound was heard among the large cloud of smoke raised by Jose's attack. Dragon Blaster, Issei's voice was heard, and seconds later a powerful torrent of energy was directed towards Phantom's master, who barely managed to dodge the attack. The attack was going to continue on its course. It deviated towards the sky and then turned to go straight to the surprised magician. Shit, he shouted, creating a barrier of dark energy to defend himself. Boom! The attack was so devastating that it caused a powerful explosion that ended up destroying much of the guild. Issei emerged unharmed, seeing the crater left after the explosion, seeing a badly injured Jose at the bottom of it. Damn brat, how do you have so much power? Jose asked, surprised and annoyed. Issei did not respond, and his body began to be covered by black flames that scared the teacher, who knew what kind of flames they were. Godslayer, such magic in a guild like that, Jose said, scared, since feeling Issei's power that was only increasing more added to the magic. Nothing good would come out of this. There it is, the same thing I said. You came to take Lucy, to attack our guild. You said you wanted to kill my friends and make the master see the desperation, said Issei, while his power increased and his body now disappeared in the black flames, where only a pair of green eyes could be seen among them. The heat began to be strong, so much so that Jose began to sweat profusely as if he were in a desert in the hot season. You shouldn't have said that, old man. You would have left with broken bones. But you must be prepared, because in the end, whoever kills must be ready to be killed, said the brown-haired man, increasing his power to a point where Jose felt like he was burning being near Issei. No, it won't end like this, die. Damn brat, he shouted, using all his power to throw a torrent of souls at the brown-haired boy. Wave of dead, he shouted, launching the attack. TCH, unpleasant to the end, said Issei, when all the fire began to condense into a single point, stopping to cover his body and heading to his right hand, which was raised with the index finger pointing upwards, where a sphere of black fire was created that it looked like a small black sun. Jose's attack hit Issei, but he simply didn't flinch, and Jose began to sweat in fear when he saw that small black sun. Goodbye, old man. Tell your sins to the god of death, cruel son, said Issei, letting the attack fail against Jose, who tried to escape, but several wyverns stuck to him. No, let me go, damn it, let me go, no, he screamed, seeing Issei's attack already close, as his skin began to burn with the mere approach of the miniature sun. Blam! The explosion was brutal, completely destroying the place, and ultimately the entire guild collapsed. From outside, everyone was surprised to see how a powerful explosion of black fire ended up knocking down the Phantom Guild, and several knew who it was. It can't be I did it, said Lucy, watching from afar as the Phantom Guild fell apart. That was Issei, right? Kana asked in disbelief. Urza just smiled, crossing her arms. Yes, it was him, Makarov said, smiling. At last the war against Phantom ended. The shadows that were fighting with those from the guild were disbanded, which was the trigger for the joy of those from the guild. Yes, we won, Mikau shouted, and the others followed suit. Issei approached where he saw smoke coming out, and he looked at the now charred Jose, who was unconscious and alive. It is indeed resistant, said Drake. Well, I wasn't planning on killing him, said Issei, kicking the body of the Burn Master. In the end, this will teach him not to buck with Fairy Tail, he said, walking away from there. I heard Issei on a pill of rubble, was Natsu, who looked bad. Are you okay? Issei asked the pink-haired boy, who smiled. Of course, that guy couldn't beat me, said the Dragon Slayer proudly. I said, happy flying near the pink-haired boy. That's good anyway, we better go back because we have a lot to do, Issei said, starting to leave when he noticed something. He looked at a pale hand under some rubble and knew who that hand belonged to. Shit. He quickly approached to pick up the rubble. Shortly after, I see Juvia unconscious and with half her body destroyed in water, but she was still breathing. Phew, thank goodness, Issei said, relieved that she wasn't dead. Are you going to take her with you? Drake asked. At least so she can recover, said Issei, carrying Juvia, who recomposed her body, apparently feeling that she was being moved. Isn't he a member of Phantom? Asked Natsu, who arrived where Issei was and looked at him carrying Juvia. Yes, Issei said, expecting an annoyed reaction from the boy. Ah, well then let's go. I'm hungry now, said Natsu, turning around to start walking, caring little or nothing if Issei was carrying a girl in his arms and knowing that she was Phantom's. Now he only cares that they give him something to eat. Why am I not surprised? The brown-haired boy whispered, amused at the pink-haired boy's lack of reaction. In the end, the brown-haired boy walked out of the place with Juvia in his arms, but then a wild aria appeared behind Issei, jumping at him, waiting to apply Makarov's blow. But the brown-haired man quickly jumped, causing the fat man to fall face first to the ground, and without mercy he dropped on the fat man's head, knocking him out. Idiot, said Issei, adjusting Juvia better, who clung to the still unconscious brunette. Shortly after. Are you okay? Lucy asked, sitting next to Issei, who watched everyone celebrate that they won even with the guild completely destroyed. Yes, and you? How do you feel after all this? Issei asked, looking at the blonde, who sighed. I, honestly, feel a little bad knowing that all this was because they came for me, but in the end everyone accepts me even though I hid my origins. I'm glad to have come to Fairy Tail, Lucy said, smiling. That's good, at least now you know that you have a family here and you can count on everyone, said Issei, watching the guild members celebrate with a smile. Even with you? Lucy asked, looking at him. Issei turned to look at her and smiled as he usually does with his girlfriends. Of course, you can count on me for whatever. I'll be there to support you, said Issei. Lucy smiled at that and got a slight blush. Hee, thanks Issei, Lucy said, feeling happy, and then looked next to Issei and saw the sleeping Juvia. Is it okay for you to have her here? She asked. Yes, she's a good girl. She was just with the wrong people, said Issei, looking at Juvia, who was curled up on a blanket that Issei got her. Lucy didn't say anything. If Issei said it, it was because it was true. Anyway, do you want to go dancing? We can't miss this party, said Issei, standing up and extending his hand to the blonde, who smiled and accepted the offer. Of course, Lucy said, smiling happily as she followed Issei to where the others were celebrating, leaving a sleeping Juvia who was protected by some wyverns that the brown-haired boy left near her. And so another chapter closes in Issei's life in Earthland as a member of Fairy Tail. What does the future hold for him? Will everything go well for him, or will the luck of the Security act this time? That and more will only be known with time, but things will happen, they will happen. Chapter 19. 1 week later. It's been a week since Phantom, and in that time many things happened, and among them. Issei-sama, here, I prepared this with a lot of love, Juvia said, handing Issei a large bento wrapped in a pink cloth with red hearts. Oh, thanks, Juvia, Issei said, accepting the food. I still don't understand how the master let her into the guild, Lucy said from afar, along with Natsu and Gray, watching the blue-haired girl being delighted next to Issei. Well, Issei pleaded for her, and the master being the person he is, accepted her, Gray said without giving it much importance. Also, considering that Jose was imprisoned for what he did and that Phantom was dissolved, it is normal for her to be able to enter another guild, and her strength is not that small, commented Urza, wearing a worker's suit with a helmet while carrying a large piece of wood on her shoulder. Now, Natsu, Gray, move. There is a lot to do, she said seriously as the two boys ran for wood since they were in the middle of rebuilding the guild. Lucy saw that, amused, and then saw Issei eating with Juvia, looking like they were in love, even though it was Juvia who was blushing and happy. Something about that didn't please Lucy, who frowned. Issei was eating what Juvia brought him, surprised by how good it tasted. Wow, this is great, said Issei, cheering Juvia up. You'll be a good wife in the future, he said sincerely, but that affected Juvia in a different way. Wife, Issei-sama's wife. She turned so red that steam literally began to come out of her body. Juvia, are you okay? Do you have a fever? Issei asked, somewhat worried. She didn't say anything. Something crazy just happened. She dissolved into water. Juvia, Issei shouted, scared. Yep, crazy things happened in a week. Later that day, Issei was on his way back after helping for several hours to rebuild the guild. Since they had made a lot of progress thanks to the master and the others. What's more, even Juvia helped in that, and that several distrusted her until they saw how she acted around the brown-haired boy, something that Issei didn't understand, but oh well. Then you have nowhere to stay, Issei said to Juvia, who was coming with him carrying a suitcase. Yes, since Juvia left the guild she no longer has anywhere to stay, so Juvia was thinking about looking for a hotel to spend these days while she looks for a permanent home, said Juvia, pretending to be sad. Well, the truth is that is a problem, but if you want you can stay with me in my apartment. After all, two people can live well there, said Issei without giving it much thought, because being with several girls in the same house made it seem normal to him that a girl was staying with him. But Juvia, upon hearing the proposal, couldn't help but smile brighter than the sun. Yes, Juvia accepts, she said very energetically. Then let's go, Issei said, smiling at her. Drake thought inside whether Issei was stupid or pretending to be stupid, although he probably came that way from the factory. While the brown-haired boy was walking calmly and Juvia was happier than ever, they arrived at the apartment complex. Issei left Juvia at the reception to go talk to the landlady to explain the situation, something that was resolved by talking since in the end Issei could live with one more person if he wanted, but it was better to warn than to do whatever he wanted. Then let's go. My room is on the second floor, said Issei, and the blue-haired girl nodded, smiling. The two went up to the second floor, and when they saw the hallway leading to Issei's apartment, the two saw an open door. It was Lucy's apartment. Issei approached since he hadn't seen the blonde since the morning, and that was strange. Upon arriving, they saw the dangerous trio along with a flying cat searching the room as if looking for something. Hey, what are you guys doing? Issei asked with a drop of sweat as he saw them making a mess in the blonde's apartment. I see, Luigi is missing, Happy said, approaching Issei with tears in his eyes. Huh? Issei was surprised. He knows that the only person the cat calls that is Lucy. What do you mean she's not here? I asked, worried. She's not there. I came this morning to invite her to go with me on a mission, but she wasn't there, said Natsu. And we found many letters addressed to his mother that he didn't send, said Gray, showing said letters, which were many. But the worst thing is that he said he was going home, said Urza seriously, showing a note that she said, I'm going home. Issei was shocked. Did Lucy really do that? Was she leaving the guild, or was it for something else? We will go look for her. Are you coming with us? Urza asked. Of course I'm going with you. I want to know why she left, said Issei, worried about the blonde. Juvia, who was silent, did not understand anything, until they started talking about the missing person as a her, and well. It can't be. Issei-sama is worried about that girl. Juvia has a love rival. The blue-haired girl thought, mortified. Oh, but it's Phantom's girl, said Gray, noticing the blue-haired girl. What are you doing here? Are you going to rent an apartment? Urza asked curiously. Oh no, Juvia is going to live with me as soon as her situation stabilizes, said Issei, surprising the trio and the cat. You and a girl sharing an apartment? Gray asked. Wow, that's very mature of you, Urza commented. Issei understood what they meant and blushed. It's not that, I'm just helping her, said Issei, embarrassed, imagining things that are not true that include Juvia in an apron naked making him breakfast. No, away with perverted impulse, he thought, wanting to fruitlessly erase that image from his mind. Anyway, then get some things ready so we can go look for Lucy, Urza said as she left the apartment. Do you know where he lives? Issei asked. Yes, the Heartfilia are famous. If we take the train we will arrive in 5 hours, Urza explained. So what are we waiting for? Let's go get Lucy, said Issei to see Juvia, who was now trembling, holding back her jealousy. Juvia, sorry, but I have to go find a good friend. But here, these are the keys to my apartment, which is next door. There is food and more. Make yourself comfortable as you like. You are at home, he said with an apologetic smile, giving his keys to the blue-haired girl who was standing still. So the group of now 4 people and a flying cat hurriedly left there. And Juvia, she was boiling literally. That Lucy is stealing Issei-sama's attention again. Juvia is furious with this love rival, the blue-haired girl shouted in her mind. Time later. After taking a train and after almost 5 hours of travel and a fainted Natsu thanks to Urza, they arrived at their destination. Let's go, Natsu shouted, running without waiting for anyone. I said, Happy flying beside him. Buck, wait, you damn llamas, Gray shouted, going after him. And Urza, she also ran after them. Issei was the only one left behind. Why am I not surprised? Said Issei, knowing more or less how those 4 acted. The brown-haired boy didn't wait for anything and also started running looking for Lucy, but following his magical energy. Because each person has a different energy, and Lucy's had a warm and half-sacred touch, the latter not why knowing. And there she was, in a cemetery, in front of a statue of a woman with angel wings. The brown-haired boy approached silently, seeing her standing there looking at the inscription on the tombstone. Layla Heartfilia X748 X777. So you came to see your mother, Issei said, making himself noticed. I see, Lucy said, surprised to see the brunette there. What are you doing here? She asked. Looking for you. Because of Natsu, I thought you had left the guild, said Issei, approaching to see the statue. That was a woman with familiar features to Lucy. Is she your mother? I have asked. Yes, she died when she was 10 years old, Lucy said with melancholy. I see, It must have been hard, Issei said. And a lot. My dad only focused on his work and scolded me when I tried to approach him. In the end, he only saw his employees as family, and so many years of being treated like a stranger in this house forced me to leave, Lucy said, looking at the sky. Wow, so it was hard. Have you talked to your father? Issei asked. Yes, I made it clear that I don't plan on returning and that I'll stay at Fairy Tail, Lucy said, smiling. That's good. In the end, Fairy Tail turned out to be more your family than your father himself, said Issei. So, were you worried about me? Lucy asked, looking at Issei with a small amused smile. Yes, the truth is I thought that because of what happened you felt guilty, and decided to leave the guild, said Issei, looking at her. Lucy was taken by surprise by such a statement. Although it seems it was an unfounded concern, it is good to know that you still plan to stay in the guild, Issei said, returning his gaze to the front. Lucy felt something, a strange feeling that reminded her of that spell she was exposed to when she met Natsu, but this time she knows it's not magic, it's real. Whatever, let's go home, Lucy, Issei said, smiling at the blonde. She looked at the brown-haired boy's calm smile, and couldn't help but smile with a cute blush. Yes, let's go, Lucy said happily. And so the duo returned, running into the danger trio plus a flying cat, who were happy that the blonde didn't decide to leave the guild. So you came to visit your mother's grave, Gray said, understanding the situation. Yes, Lucy said, happy to know that she is loved in the guild. I'm sorry to have worried you, she said, smiling apologetically. Don't worry, it's understandable that you want to come here, Urza said with a small smile. By the way, this area seems to lack more population, right? Said Natsu, seeing that the path they were taking was empty. In the distance, the Heartfilia mansion could be seen. Oh, it's because this is the garden. From here to the mountain there is my family's territory, Lucy said, smiling. That left Urza, Gray and Natsu stunned. Issei, he will be given a territory larger than this to rule in the future. His in-laws have a territory this big, so he is used to this. Wow, they must have a prosperous business, said Issei. Yes, even though he is annoying, my dad is a great businessman, Lucy said, sighing, because even though her father is the way he is her father, and she still loves him. And so the group left, with the danger trio thinking that Lucy is some kind of princess or something. Hours later. Magnolia. The group arrived back in the city, and everyone went home. Issei and Lucy went together since they live in the same building. It's good to know that I still fit in here, Lucy commented. Why wouldn't you? Issei asked. Well, after everything that happened, it's still hard to digest knowing that they forgave me even though I was the reason the guild was destroyed and the others were hurt, Lucy said with some guilt. Lucy, please, I already told you before and I repeat it, it's not your fault for anything. It was your father who started this and Phantom took advantage of it to harm the guild. It's not your fault for anything when you didn't even knew that his father would go to such extremes, said Issei. But she still doesn't feel well. Come on, listen, forget this, okay? Even the master said that if they didn't use you as a trigger for the conflict, the Phantoms would have started a fight sooner or later, so stop blaming themselves, okay? Said Issei. Well, that doesn't take away the bad taste in my mouth, said Lucy. It will pass. This will remain as a bad memory. Think about the future. Besides, if we continue as we are, the guild will come back better than ever, said Issei, smiling. You are very optimistic sometimes, Lucy said. Well, not so much, but I don't always see the bad side of things either. It's like the saying, every cloud has a silver lining, so don't worry, Lucy. Everything will be fine, said Issei, smiling calmly. Lucy said nothing more and the two walked in comfortable silence. Upon arriving at the apartment building, they went up to their assigned floor, and before leaving, Lucy stopped Issei. What the? But Issei fell silent when he felt a soft sensation on his right cheek. Lucy gave him a kiss on the cheek, something that made him blush. She pulled away and looked at him with a smile. That's for all the help you've given me, thanks, she said as she entered her apartment. Issei stood there like a fool looking at the door to Issei's apartment. I don't expect that, much less from a cute girl who isn't one of his girlfriends. It was weird and kind of cool, it made him feel good and confused. I see Sama until a dark vibe that he would recognize anywhere took him out of his thoughts. Turning towards her apartment, There she saw a very annoyed Juvia blowing steam while holding an iron spoon that was turning red, as well as wearing an apron. "Oh, Juvia, hello," Issei said, feeling strangely nervous. Juvia looked at him annoyed, but annoyed with jealousy when she saw how Lucy gave the brunette a kiss on the cheek when she hasn't done that yet. Issei, entering automatic mode, approached Juvia and took her into the apartment. "Were you cooking?" "Great, because this little trip left me starving and I think your delicious food can appease that," Issei said, praising the girl. His instincts, trained thanks to his previously jealous girlfriends, made him act like this, because jealousy was something that activated something in him that wants to calm that jealousy. Juvia, clearly being who she is, felt happy to see that Issei wanted her food, so she dropped the topic of the kiss and decided to give him food. "Oh, well, Juvia made a meat stew that I know Issei-sama will love," Juvia said in loving girlfriend mode. Issei sighed as he saw that she had calmed down, although he did so unconsciously. And so another day ended for Issei, not knowing that he has touched a girl's heart and has another one crazy about him. But it's Issei, this guy wouldn't take a hint even if he was slammed in his face. This is a lull before things spiral out of control again, and a certain night's past comes to light. Chapter 20. A few days later. Fiori Branch Magic Council. In the CM courtroom, Issei was once again on the stand. "Hello again, everyone," Issei greeted, looking at the counselors, or rather, their projections. "You know why we are here for your trial, right?" said Councilwoman Sieg. "Not really, the master came and told me, son, come with me to the council headquarters, and here I am," said Issei, being sincere. "Because I'm not surprised," said one of the counselors, who is a short old man with bushy eyebrows and a small mustache, and who looks sad, the sixth counselor, Yajima. "Anyway, you're here to talk about the matter regarding Phantom Lord and its subsequent dissolution, along with the sorry state in which you left Master Jose Crawford," Seam said seriously. Issei sighed. "This is a serious matter, because an entire legal guild was defeated and its master was left in a state where it is a miracle that he is still alive," said another of the counselors, Org. "That is why we have to take action on this matter, because this problem is something that has not been seen for years," said Counselor Belno seriously. "Please, members of the council, it is clear that they sought out the conflict. Even the master did not get carried away in the attack that left our guild destroyed. It was not until his Dragon Slayer wanted to attack a group of our guild that everything broke out," the brown-haired man began to argue. Being that all the counselors paid attention to him, the fight got out of hand when one of the four elements attacked the master, leaving him in a very sorry state. "And by the way, they went directly to Magnolia with their guild to try to kill us, yes, as you heard. Even that old man himself said that he would kill us all, and in the end he would leave the master to see his expression of helplessness when killing us all," he said seriously, being that even the counselors saw him without saying anything. "Being Gels and you are who paid the most attention, I know that the state I left that old man in was not the most acceptable, but knowing what I did with other magicians who were wanted, it is more of a miracle that I let him live," he said with total seriousness. "And you're right, but this has to be dealt with in a legal manner, so to speak, since investigations showed that the entire Phantom Lord Guild was used to take a current member of Fairy Tail, causing a lot of damage along the way, and that's why it was dissolved," explained Crawford. "So Hyoudou-kun, you'll have to comply with a small warning," Councilwoman Sei said, smiling. Issei just sighed. And at the end the hearing went on normally. Half an hour later Issei left the room and found Makarov sleeping, sitting in a chair outside the courtroom. "He is a very carefree old man," said Drake. "Yes," said Issei, approaching Makarov. Master Makarov," he had to shout when he saw that the old man would not pay attention to him. "Huh? What happened?" Makarov said to see Issei. "Oh, how did it go, I have asked?" "Well, in the end they let me go. We came out innocent, and that," said Issei, sitting next to Makarov. "That's good. By the way, let me introduce you to someone. He's the one who helped us so that this didn't become more problematic than it was already," said Makarov, standing up. Issei just followed him. After a while they came out to a more open area where Issei could see one of the counselors sitting. It was Yajima. "Hello, Yajima, long time no see," said Makarov, smiling at his old friend. "And it's only when you have problems that you want me to fix," Yajima said. Makarov could only smile at that. Yajima looked at Issei. You really caused quite a stir with what you did. I've heard Crawford complain on occasion, Yajima said to the brunette. I'm sorry about that, Issei apologized. Don't worry, at least you're not like your other guildmates. They give you more headaches than any pending paperwork, Yajima said with a sigh. Issei could imagine it, because when chatting with Kana or Mira Jane he discovered things that made him sigh. Anyway, it's good to know that you have a boy with great potential in your Makarov guild, Yajima said, now addressing the old master. What can I say, he's special, said Makarov, although only he knows why Issei is so amazing. Thanks for the help. When we rebuild Fairy Tail, come by there and I'll invite you to some ramen, he said smiling. Then I want you to give me one with 12 portions of pork, said Yajima. Hey, that's too much, said Makarov. Issei just watched the two elders chatting with each other. He actually found it amusing. Days later. Fairy Tail's still under reconstruction. Guys, starting today we can continue receiving jobs. What a smiling Mira Jane said made everyone happy, since they have been going through a drought of jobs due to what happened a few days ago. Everyone was happy about it, and so they started celebrating. Issei was arriving with Juvia by his side. The two approached the bar, with the blue-haired girl looking scathingly at Lucy, who had been there for a while. I see everyone is excited, Issei commented, taking a seat. It's because we can now receive jobs, said Mira Jane. But what good news, the truth is I already needed some money, said Issei. Although I don't know why they are happy about it if most of the time they spend fooling around and drinking, Lucy said with amusement. Well, you're right, Issei said, laughing. Hey, that's cruel, said Mikao, who was drinking next to Wakaba. That made them laugh. Well, not Juvia, who was tempting Lucy. Well, whatever, I'll go look for a job. Come on, Juvia, you're coming with me, told Issei, getting up from his seat to go to the job board. See you later, girls, he said goodbye to the two. See you later, and I wish you luck, Mira Jane said, smiling. Lucy just watched Issei leave. She smiled. Oh, Mira Jane saw that, smiling. Issei and Juvia arrived at the job board, with several already leaving alone or in groups to do jobs. But repeat that again if you dare, shouted a very annoying Urza. Obviously that caught the attention of the guild, since they were concerned about what was happening. Urza was arguing with a tough-looking blonde guy. Issei looked at the guy carefully. As far as he knows, he is Makarov's grandson, a guy who controls lightning magic, although... Wait, he has an essence similar to Natsu's, although not as pure, Issei thought after feeling the ether nano that the blonde gave off. Artificial Dragon Slayer, perhaps? Drake said. Very possibly, Issei thought seriously. The blonde, Laxus Dreyer, was ranting about how everyone is embarrassed for almost failing against Phantom Lord, that in his opinion they are useless. This guild doesn't need useless people, said Laxus with a smile of total arrogance. Says the idiot who wasn't here to help, said Issei, not being able to stand the blonde's attitude, as it reminds him of Reiser when he first met him, although she was more similar to Zephyldor Glagia Labelas in the punk way and everything. Laxus frowned and looked at Issei. Oh, but it's the new one and accompanied by one of Phantoms, said Laxus, looking at Issei seriously. From what I heard, you are strong, but coming from all this bunch of useless people I think they are exaggerating, he said, smiling smugly. Really? But at least this useless guy was there to help, not like others who come to criticize when they didn't do a damn thing, said Issei without being affected by his words. You really have balls to talk to me like that, Laxus said, frowning. The ones you need to help the guild, said Issei, crossing his arms. Don't think you're an idiot. Just because you defeated Phantom's master doesn't make you strong. If I had been here, this whole matter would have been easily resolved, said Laxus. I doubt it, because a barking dog doesn't bite, said Issei, annoying Laxus even more. So if you only came to criticize, you're wasting your time. You better get out of here since you ruined the atmosphere, he said, turning around to go back to look for a mission. Everyone saw those surprised, because they did not expect Issei to say those words to the blonde's face. Laxus was annoyed, but he didn't do anything and stood up. Whatever, once I am the successor of the guild I will kick out all the useless people from here. None of you are worth it. I will create the most powerful guild that has ever existed, and I will not let anyone in, said Laxus. Well, it will be a shitty guild, said Issei without looking at him, making Laxus stop you saying you are strong, but I only see a dog barking and you bark pure shit, and even if you were, it does not give you the right to call anyone useless. That only shows that you are an idiot who will not serve as a leader or as a master of a guild. You think that everyone is below you and that will screw you over one day, because someone more powerful than you will appear and make you see that you are useless just like those you see as useless, he said to continue with his thing. Laxus clenched his fists in annoyance, and without further ado. Thush. I see, careful, said Urza, who was the only one who saw Laxus move. But. Bam. Issei didn't bother to react quickly, as Laxus' speed was lacking compared to the subjects he had faced. When the blonde appeared behind him, ready to give him a punch charged with electric magic, Issei kicked him in the abdomen, sending him flying out of the guild. That left everyone stunned, because almost no one could do that to Laxus, since he was an S-class of the guild for a reason. Issei turned to look at him seriously, as Laxus stood up holding his abdomen and looking at Issei with annoyance. It's better that you go. Out of respect for the master I won't do anything to you, but if you continue, I won't answer, said Issei to return to look for jobs. Oh, look, Juvia, here they need us to hunt sea monsters that are attacking in a port west of Fiori, he said, looking at the blue-haired girl. Juvia? He said. Juvia was blushing as she watched Issei, because seeing him act that way was something that fascinated the water woman who was literally melting. The rest of the guild was speechless, seeing him get serious, and then returning to being the same old Issei was something strange. Makarov watched all this from a corner. He honestly expected something like that. Knowing his grandson, it was normal that a few words would bother him more than any blow. He sighed, hoping that one day he would change and return to being the boy he used to be, or at least improve that attitude he has. In the end, Issei had to take Juvia. It was a bit difficult for her because she became soggy to the touch and kept falling off. But not before making it clear that he would do that job with the girl, who despite everything, has a previous S-class status in her previous guild. When Issei left. Damn, I want to fight him, Natsu shouted, wanting to go after Issei but being stopped by Urza. Leave him alone, we're not here for that, Urza said. I didn't expect him to stand up to Laxus, said Gray, who was in his underwear as usual. Well, if he could stand up to a guild master like Jose, I don't doubt he could stand up to someone like Laxus, Urza said. By the way, what do you say about working together? Natsu, Lucy and you, Gray, she said, smiling. And that left everyone more surprised than what happened to Laxus, who had already left throwing thunder and lightning from anger literally. Chapter 21. 1 week later. In the middle of nowhere. Once again, Issei is meditating to have a greater connection with his magic. It was strange, he always meditates and feels that even if it is a little bit, he can get closer to the root of that magic. That yellow-eyed figure is getting closer to him, and he feels like it is trying to communicate. Is it some entity linked to magic? He doesn't know, but he hopes to find out. It's time to go back. Juvia must have already made breakfast, Issei said, getting up from the ground. After that he teleported to his apartment. Issei's apparatus, Magnolia? The chestnut tree appeared in the middle of the apartment. Welcome, Issei-sama, how did your training go? Asked Juvia, who was wearing an apron as she was finishing making breakfast. Same as always, I think I'm stuck on something, Issei said, sitting at the little table they used to eat. Really? That's bad, but Juvia knows that you can get out of that jam, Juvia said, smiling. Thanks for the encouragement, Juvia, Issei said, smiling. By the way, Issei-sama, are we going on a mission today? Juvia asked, sitting next to Issei to eat. Issei smiled, remembering something. Look, Issei said, taking 2 golden tickets out of his dimensional storage. Juvia looked at them confused. These are VIP passes to Fiori's largest vacation resort, Akane Resort, Issei said, smiling. Juvia opened her eyes abnormally. She was shocked. How did Issei-sama get that? She shouted, because only important people get those types of tickets, and even more so in a place like Akane Resort that is famous throughout the kingdom and, of course, outside of the same kingdom. Well, it was a gift from an acquaintance, said Issei, smiling nervously, because 2 days ago he was called to Crocus by Hijri herself, who gave him said tickets to go out with a friend. What kind of friends do you have, Issei-sama? Juvia asked, surprised. Let's say they are wealthy people, Issei said, scratching the back of his head. Issei-sama, your friends are not dishonest people, right? Juvia asked. No, I don't hang out with criminals, Issei said. Juvia understands. Then when will we go to Akane Resort? Juvia asked, now focused on the tickets. Well, we can leave tomorrow, so we have to get ready to have what we need since it's a 5-day and 5-night trip, Issei said, smiling. Oh great, Juvia would need a new swimsuit. At that she stopped, confusing Issei to look at him with a huge smile. Issei-sama, can you accompany Juvia to try on some swimsuits to see which one suits Juvia best? She asked, somewhat embarrassed. Issei looked at her in surprise, a big request on her part, and of course, count on me, Issei said, smiling with some emotion, but he doesn't deny it. Juvia's body is a bomb. Juvia smiled wider at that, and felt like she had to do a lot of herself to get Issei's attention. Time later. Issei arrived at the guild's construction area, watching everyone working. I see, Natsu shouted from afar, as the brown-haired boy looked at him standing next to Loki in gray. Issei approached the boys. Hey guys, what's up? Asked the brown-haired boy. Look, Loki says here that he is not a human, but a star spirit, said Natsu, pointing at the aforementioned one who was sitting near them. Issei looked at Loki, who smiled nervously. I assumed so, Issei said, confusing everyone. Really? Gray asked, looking at Issei. Yes, I mean, he had a strange aura about him, and that's why, Issei said. He won't tell them that he could feel Loki's energy flow was different from theirs and that he didn't smell human. It was more of a feline smell. Why am I not surprised coming from you? Loki said, amused anyway. Before I leave, I have to give you this, he said, taking out several passes that Issei recognized. Huh! Lucy took one and was surprised when she read it. What's it for? Natsu asked, confused. Since I won't be able to stay in the human world for long, I'm giving you these passes to a vacation hotel I was planning to use with my girlfriends, Loki said casually, surprising them. Huh! That made Natsu happy and the others happy. I give them to you as a thank you for having helped me so much. It is so that you can have fun together, said Loki, smiling. Good news for everyone, being that each one received their ticket, and when Issei was going to receive one. In fact, I already have some VIP passes for Akane Resort, said Issei, leaving everyone speechless. How did you get them? Lucy asked, as only someone from her family's level could obtain such passes. Through a friendship I made on missions, he gave them to me as a gift, Issei said, taking out one of the golden tickets that left everyone stunned. Damn, you humiliated, told me Loki, feeling depressed. It wasn't my intention, Issei said, laughing, amused. And who will you go with? Lucy asked curiously. Juvia. I was given 2 passes and I invited her, Issei said calmly, although. Oh, I see, Lucy said with a tight smile and a dark aura coming from her. All the men saw that. Well, I have things to do, so see you, and Loki was the first to quickly leave there to the spiritual world. I have to go to help, Yegre said as he walked away. Natsu felt nervous, but he doesn't know why. Issei looked at Lucy and suddenly got nervous. You screwed up again, buddy, said Drake. Really? Look, I haven't noticed. Issei said sarcastically. This, Lucy, well, I think I have to get ready, and the brunette decided to leave quickly. He didn't feel so sure of being able to calm a clearly jealous Lucy. Lucy watched her leave. She was jealous, yes, even though she doesn't accept it yet. Deep down she began to feel something for Issei. It was strange, because she has never liked someone so much before the point of being jealous. But now seeing how Issei is close to Juvia and knowing that they will go on vacation alone makes her feel that way. Well, she wanted to go with Issei on vacation. Then Urza appeared dressed ready to go on vacation, pulling her trusty cart full of necessary luggage. Lucy sighed. Whatever, we'll see each other there anyway. Nothing is lost, she said to herself. What's not lost? Natsu asked curiously. That excited the blonde. Oh no, nothing, she said, blushing. Lucy is weird, said Happy. Time later. Oh, then you're going too, Urza said, looking at Issei and Juvia. Yes, Juvia was invited by Issei-sama to go on vacation, Juvia said, smiling happily. Issei was sweating coldly, as Lucy was staring at them with a dangerous look. Ahem, then, I hope this trip is fun for everyone, Issei said, smilingly at the blonde's nervous glare. Me too, it's been a while since I've been to the sea, said Natsu, completely excited. I want to eat lots of fish, said Happy. Going out to have fun from time to time is good, Gray commented without a shirt. I agree, it's not bad to have fun from time to time, Urza said, smiling and nodding. Yes, we have a lot of fun, Lucy said in a very bad mood. Ha ha ha, you screwed up, buddy, now the blonde is jealous, said Drake, making fun of Issei. The brown-haired boy didn't say anything, he simply remained silent. Time later. The group eventually arrived at Akane Resort, having checked in and staying in different places. The VIP passes that Issei and Juvia possessed gave them access to several places, from an exclusive side of the casino to having private rooms to eat, and where they could invite whoever they wanted. On top of that, everything consumable was free along with room service and other things, very expensive passes that Issei would only have if he spent his Ipei Dragon money. Then the group went to have fun at the beach, since they still had time for that. Now on a volleyball court were Issei against Gray and Natsu playing a crazy game. Take it, Issei shouted, returning the ball. Ha, never, Natsu shouted as he received the ball so it would go high. Here it goes, Gray shouted, giving a strong kick. Never, Issei shouted, moving quickly to receive, and Totomita, he shouted, giving a powerful blow to the ball that went past the two boys. Pythei. Issei win, said Happy, who was wearing referee clothes. Damn, Natsu complained. I think you're taking advantage of us because you're faster, Gray said. Issei just shrugged. Now it's our turn, said Urza, entering the fight with Lucy. Issei had to admit it, Urza and Lucy look phenomenal in those swimsuits. They look like magazine models, literally, and he has seen the most beautiful woman in all of mythologies. Juvia will help him this time, Issei-sama, Juvia said, approaching to support Issei. Thanks, Juvia said Issei, smiling, making the blue-haired girl blush and smile. Growling, and Lucy grew annoyed at seeing that. There it goes, Urza shouted, throwing a powerful ball. I'll give it back to you, Issei shouted, receiving and returning the powerful ball with the same intensity. This went too far, Lucy commented from the side of the court. Juvia thinks the same as a love rival, said Juvia next to Lucy. And while the game started well, little by little the intensity rose to the point where it was just Urza and Issei fighting to see who wins, both using only physical strength. Although. Wait, Lucy recalculated what Juvia said and blushed. What do you mean, love rival? She said, blushing. Juvia has seen how you see Issei-sama. You like him, you can't deny it, Juvia said with some annoyance. I don't like it, Lucy said, annoyed and embarrassed. Ha, Juvia doesn't believe you. You're a love rival, Juvia said seriously and pointing at Lucy. Juvia won't be easily defeated. Juvia will get Issei-sama's love for herself, and she will rub it in your face, she said smugly. Lucy was upset, yes, very upset. Yes, Issei interests her, and she was clearly upset by the fact that he and Juvia would be alone in this place even though they came together. Yes, she is jealous, yes, she likes him, but she can't admit it just like that. She has to think more calmly and clearly. This may be an effect of everything that happened previously with Phantom Lord. This may be part of the initial interest she had towards Issei. That's why she has to think things over. One good thing about all this is that Gray, Natsu and Happy went into the water, leaving the brown-haired boy alone competing with Urza. Time later. The day passed without many setbacks, more than fun. From Lucy hitting a bald guy in the head, to a swimming competition between Natsu and Gray won. They shared a hearty lunch in a private room and then did whatever they wanted until nightfall. Now. This is annoying, Issei said, struggling to put on his tie, as he was wearing a crimson-red suit that he found cute and bought at the hotel store. It was tailored, and it reminded him of one he wore to a party he attended with Rias in the underworld. Let Juvia help you, said Juvia, arriving with a beautiful dress that outlines her figure. Issei looked at the blue-haired girl's beauty. He was surprised. He knows she is her age, but this body surpasses those of her age by far. either Zenobia nor Irina have a body like that. What do they give to the girls of this world? Thought Issei, since Urza and Mirajane, being Rias' age, have mature bodies in the sense that they look like adult women and not young ones. Without a doubt this world has its secrets. Ready, Issei-sama looks handsome, said Juvia, finishing her work with a cute blush. Well, I don't look as good as you. You're beautiful, said Issei, praising the blue-haired girl who blushed and smiled happily. Issei-sama, what are you saying? Juvia said, flattered. Honestly, are we going now? Issei asked, offering his left arm. Yes, and she clung to it. The two left the room they now share, one with two beds since, well, they have to maintain decency, although Juvia doesn't mind sleeping with Issei. And so the two of them went to the casino where the others were already waiting for them. Not knowing that things were about to take an unexpected turn. Do you narrate? No way, what are those damn things? I didn't think something like that would happen, especially with me present. I thought that would be enough, but it wasn't. They destroyed everything in their path, and not even I could stop them. This only means trouble, big trouble. I have to tell the old man, maybe he can give me some answers, but first I have to save them, I can't let them die. I saved and cared for them, so it is my duty to protect them. Even if it means letting an entire world die. And? Olthus POV. I have already traveled to several places and have not found Issei. Red Baka didn't want to help even though he is related to Issei, that's why he is a Baka. The girls entrusted me with their quest, and well, I have to do it. He's my friend and friends look out for each other, or so I was taught. He's not here either. Lilith is with me, she'll also help me look for him. In the end we both share something in common with him. The power of infinity. I know that will help me find him, because he is mine and I am his. That is our deal until the end. Although I don't know why I have a bad feeling. Chapter 22. Moments later. Casino. The Akane Resort Casino is huge, located in the basement of the hotel. It was packed with all kinds of people from everywhere. Various games of chance where luck or playing it cool is something that only very few have. The brown-haired boy and the blue-haired girl arrived, seeing the large number of people spread throughout the place in the different games. So where are we going? Issei asked. Juvia will go wherever you want, Issei-sama, she said with a smile. Issei sighed internally. This girl is dedicated, but to an insane extreme, to the point of obsession. He hopes that with time at least she won't depend or cling to him so much, because this girl could go through what Akino did when she died for the second time. Well, let's go to the slot, said Issei, as it is the first time he goes to a casino. Well, not exactly, because before the war against Quiplot and the awakening of Trihexa, Azazel kidnapped him to go to Gregory's casinos. There was liquor, women, and lots of gambling. In fact, the man with blonde locks told him that he was one of the pioneers of gambling, so he taught him several secrets and things like that. The two went to the place, seeing someone they knew. Oh, Gray, said Issei, seeing the black-haired man sitting in front of one of the machines, laughing out loud, as he noticed Natsu fighting near the roulette table. What a show, he commented with a drop of sweat. Oh, but if they are the bride and groom, they took a while. We thought they weren't going to come, said Gray, making fun of the closeness of both of them. No, boyfriends, said Juvia, completely red and with a smile. Stop the nonsense. The thing is that to come to a place like this you have to dress with class, said Issei, referring to the red suit he was wearing. Oh, sir, excuse me, Gray said. Whatever, Natsu is making a big fuss, said Issei, watching the pink-haired boy scream, annoyed about how they were scamming him. Yeah, ha ha ha, that idiot is funny, Gray said, laughing. Anyway, what about Lucy? Issei asked, making Juvia jealous. She's with Urza somewhere else. I think they were playing poker, Gray said thoughtfully. I see, well then I'll see you later. I'll be there with Juvia, said Issei, pointing to a row of machines far away from where Gray was. Sure, Gray said, and the two of them left. Issei and Juvia went to the slot machines that were empty, although he left Juvia there while he went to get coins since he didn't have one with him. The chestnut went to exchange about 6,000 jewels, but in that. The light went out of the place, leaving it completely dark. It was a momentary commotion, as everyone was frightened by the sudden power outage. But what strongly caught Issei's attention was the following. Bang! One shot, so he quickly lit up his body with normal fire, and began to retrace his steps towards the slot area. Halfway there the light came back, and when he arrived he saw something that made him angry. Juvia was unconscious, grade 2, and Natsu was lying on the roulette table. But he saw two guys, well, one was breaking up into cubes. Issei was not an idiot, those guys were responsible. Give me one good reason not to kill you right now, Issei said seriously. Hyoudou Issei, the crimson monster of fairy tale, you are someone dangerous, and that's why I brought this, said the subject, who was huge, with muscles and had a metallic jaw with a turban covering the top of his head. The guy before Issei made a move, took out a kind of tear which he dropped to the ground, and it shone brightly, blinding the brunette for a few seconds. In that, bam! Something rammed into him, seeing a strange blue crystalline-looking creature that had a reddish core in the center of his body. That thing is shaped like a dog, a big one. And the worst thing is that the amount of ether nano it contains is enormous. Son of a hitch, said Issei, being dragged away by the crystal monster. The subject looked at the brown-haired man and then left, leaving a mess in the place. Bam! The chestnut was taken out of the place, scaring everyone, seeing the enormous crystal beast that was the size of an elephant. Issei hit her several times, but his normal blows didn't hurt her. Ah, let me go now, you damn vermin, the brown-haired boy shouted, lighting his right fist on black fire. But when he hit it, it absorbed his magic and the creature's core glowed so that it increased in size. Absorb ether nano, he said in surprise. The creature shook him several times in his jaws, annoying him as his teeth hurt. Then he threw him away and opened his mouth, creating a black sphere created with the nature of Issei's magic. The chestnut rolled on the ground, managing to stabilize himself, only to see how the monster was charging a powerful attack that if thrown would destroy the entire area. Balance breaker, Issei shouted as he was covered by the Hyoudou's scarlet armor. Boost, 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 boost. He quickly began to charge several boosts. If this thing absorbs ether nano, it may not be able to absorb demonic power. In the end, ether nano is not the same as the energy that is handled in his world. It is an energy totally unknown in this one. The brown-haired boy extended his two hands forward, cupping them so that in the center he began to create a sphere of reddish energy. It was time for a change. He had to increase his arsenal. Depending on the same thing is not good, since enemies can get used to what he does and could use it against him. It already happened when Euclid used a copy of the red armor and mastered it better than him. It was time for change. GRE. The beast launched a powerful laser beam of great size that crystallized the sand in the groove it followed. Dragon attack, Issei shouted, launching the powerful attack directly at the dragon's enormous laser. The chestnut did not stop making increases, giving more power to his attack. The two beams collided, causing a huge bang that created a shockwave that shook several palm trees and raised a curtain of dust. The people who were watching this were between scared and surprised. Some were seeing a magician fight for the first time, and even more so when this magician was attacking a huge crystal beast. Issei attacked non-stop, although the black lightning did not retreat, all due to the nature of the magic he absorbed. He knows that Godslayer magic is more complex than it seems. He knows that it is of divine nature, just as Dragonslayer is of dragon nature. But the power it confers is enormous, although it can vary between users, which are few if he is not mistaken. That's why he's not surprised that the black ray doesn't retreat, since it's on par with his attack. Damn bishop, he shouted when the armor changed. Chang Fong blast was heard from the armor as two cannons came out from its shoulders. They immediately began to be loaded, and then Dragon Blaster has said, firing the attack that matched the power of the Crystal Beast's attack. Both of their attacks collided with the Crystal Beast's, managing to gain ground. Little by little the Crystal Beast was cornered, and when it saw that it was going to be hit, it stopped attacking and dodged the attack. If it were anyone else, the attack would hit the hotel directly and everything would be destroyed for thousands, but since it was Issei, he directed the attack towards the sky. The attack was lost in the sky, and then it exploded into a large red dot. Damn thing, he said, watching the crystal beast run towards him. Blade 2, tail blade, the brown-haired boy took out the 3 Ascalons to attack. Then he began to imbue his power into them. Then when the beast was near, Dragon slash, he said as he launched the 3 slashes. The beast could do little against a trio of dragons slaying swords imbued with dragon power. It was cut into 3 pieces, and those 3 cuts hit the core. But blink boom. This exploded in a large explosion of ether nano engulfing Issei. Time later. Natsu ran like crazy. He was angry, because he had recently been shot in the mouth, but he survived. His body is strong. But he stopped and looked to his right. Natsu, wait, we have to think what to do now, Lucy said, being tired. Damn, those guys beat us up, Gray said, somewhat annoyed by what he had to go through. Juvia arrived behind them. She was desperately looking for Issei, since they didn't see him inside. Issei, Natsu shouted, running to where he felt the scent of the chestnut tree, because it was a scent he was very used to, the scent of a dragon, and that was strange. Hearing that, everyone followed Natsu, being guided to a group of people surrounding an area of the place. Natsu walked through the people, ignoring their annoying screams. When they arrived, they were stunned. I see Sama, Juvia shouted, running to where the brown-haired boy was. Lucy covered her mouth, looking in horror at what happened. There was Issei, standing, his entire body burned and with smoke emanating from his body. Natsu felt Issei's magic on him, as Juvia went and covered him with water. Cough, cough, the brown-haired boy coughed, drawing the boy's attention. I see Sama, what happened to him? Why is he like this? Who attacked him? Juvia asked, totally worried and on the edge of tears. Ugh, that bastard brought a thing, some kind of artificial beast. That thing exploded, it absorbed my magic, and used that against me. I was barely able to cover myself completely, said Issei, breathing raggedly, because his body hurt. In the end, that crystal beast stored more magic than Issei possessed, as a kind of insurance in case its core was destroyed. And with the fact that he obtained his God-Slayer magic nature, well, it was painful for him. It was thanks to the divide that he managed to calm the explosion, because otherwise the entire Akane resort and the people nearby would not be there at this moment. After a while, the brown-haired boy somewhat recovered. His body was still burned, so he had to do something about that pain. Under the gaze of his friends, he took out a phoenix tear from his storage dimension, one of the few that Ravel gave him to use in cases of extreme need. He opened the lid and took the reddish liquid. The effect was immediate. His body was covered by a yellowish aura and his burns began to disappear along with the pain from them. Wow, Lucy said, surprised at that. And she wasn't the only one. Everyone was surprised to see how the brown-haired girl's body was completely healed, as if nothing had happened. That hurt a lot, said Issei. And Urza? I asked, not looking at the redhead. Lucy was sad, because she saw what happened and couldn't do anything. They took her. They took Happy too, Natsu shouted angrily. Huh? Really? Issei asked, surprised. He didn't expect them to take Urza and much less Happy. Yeah, it was that bastard with the iron jaw and his companions, Grace said with annoyance. Damn it, Issei said. But I have the trail. We can follow them, said Natsu, pointing to his nose. Really? What are we waiting for? Let's go rescue her, Issei said seriously. They all agreed, with Natsu and Gray being the most motivated, since they have known the redhead since they were children, and for them she is an important member of that family that is Fairy Tail. So without further ado, the 5 of them moved, following Natsu, who with his enhanced sense of smell could follow Urza and Happy's scent, which guided them in one direction. This relaxation outing suddenly became a problem. Chapter 23. Time later. The group was now in a boat in the middle of the sea. Natsu took them to a specific point, and the brown-haired boy had to buy the boat to avoid problems due to theft. So there they were, sailing in the middle of nowhere. Are we really on the right track? Lucy asked. I think, he said, we had to go in a straight line, Issei said. He had to be dizzy right now, said Gray, seeing Natsu, who looked awful. Juvia was the one who moved the boat with her water control. I can't understand how the hell they took Urza. She's supposed to be stronger than these two together, said Issei, pointing at Gray and Natsu. Neither do I, said Gray, somewhat frustrated by the current situation, because he knows that the redhead is powerful. She knew them, apparently for a long time. They used that to their advantage, because she looked scared, Lucy said sadly, being useless to help the redhead. That could be one of the reasons, because I can't imagine any other, said Issei, because he knows that the redhead is powerful. After a while more, they managed to see something in the distance. A huge tower in the middle of the sea. Is that the Tower of Paradise? Lucy said, looking at the big tower. So how do we proceed? Issei asked, because although he can go in to destroy everything, it may be full of powerful magicians and he will no longer trust Teach as he did before. We have to find a place to get in, Grace said seriously. In the end they opted for what the black-haired man said, approaching one side of the tower, with Juvia being the one in charge of looking for a place to enter. The place was full of guards. They could make a fuss by attacking them all, but that could put the redhead and Happy in danger. There is a passage a few meters underwater. It connects to a small inland river, Juvia said. Then let's go down, Issei said, jumping into the water. Wait, Issei-sama, use this, said Juvia, passing him a water bubble. It's so you can breathe underwater, she said. Great, Issei said, putting his head in that bubble, and it was true, he could breathe. Juvia proceeded to give one to each one, and then everyone went down through the passage she mentioned. They arrived in a few minutes, seeing that the place was unguarded. So this is the base of the tower, Gray said, looking at the place. The chestnut looked at the place. It was rough, as if it were some kind of dungeon. As a demon, you can sense the negativity of a place, and there was a lot of it here, and places with a lot of negativity were part of very bad events. For example, the Auschwitz concentration camp, where many horrible things happened in Nazi times. In that. Who are you? Shouted a guard who was coming with a large number of guards. True, said Issei, creating normal fire with his hand and throwing a huge fireball that sent the subjects flying through the air, leaving them severely damaged. Ding dong, he said. Was it necessary? Lucy asked, watching as more guards came to them. A lot, Issei said. And so a large number of guards came to them to try to stop them. Open the crab door, Cancer, said Lucy, summoning a man with several arms who attacked the guards with scissors. Gray attacked with his ice make with great force, while Natsu caused more destruction than usual. Juvia was attacked with swords by those guards, but that's useless, she's literally a water woman and that doesn't affect her. And Issei, the brown-haired boy, took advantage of his physical advantage to punch the guards hard, sending them flying and scaring them to the point that some fled. The battle was not a big deal, as they managed to defeat all the guards with great ease. Now, how do we get up? Lucy asked, looking for some way up. Simple, we open our own entrance, Issei said with his fist raised. I support him with violence, Natsu shouted, catching fire. Don't be idiots, we need to be more subtle, said Gray. At that a hatch opened from which a ladder descended. Huh? Maybe? Lucy was surprised. Yes, an invitation, said Issei, starting to go up, followed by Juvia. What if it's a trap? Gray asked, following the brown-haired boy. We will destroy it, no more, no less, Issei said calmly. Lucy sighed, but followed them anyway. Wait for me, Happy, Natsu shouted, going up after Gray. The group managed to climb up, reaching an open area with several boxes. Where are you? You bucking bastard, Natsu shouted angrily. But Lucy quickly covered her mouth. Shut up. We are in the enemy base, you must remain silent, said Lucy. Lucy is right, Natsu, before it was easy because we were underground, now we are in enemy territory, and we must be careful, said Issei. This entrance was opened remotely by someone using magic, Juvia commented, inspecting the place where they entered, which was a hatch that slid to the right, opening the way. They already know we are here, she said. But why open the door for us? Gray asked. Because they are confident that we are not able to stop them, said Issei. Are you calling us weak? Natsu asked. Not me, the guys who took Urza, said Issei, sighing at Natsu's intelligence. Those bastards, said the pink-haired boy, annoyed. They're trying to provoke us, then Grace said with some annoyance. Provoke us? Lucy looked at each other upon hearing that, and both Issei and Gray turned to look at her, although Issei's eyes went to the blonde's chest. She quickly changed her clothes after summoning Virgo, who instantly left. And how do I look? Lucy asked, turning around to show her dress. It suits you, Gray commented. Beautiful, Issei said normally. Growling, and Juvia could only growl upon hearing the compliment Issei said, but she got more annoyed when she saw the smug smile Lucy gave her. Whatever, we already ate, so we have to look for Urza, she said. Catch them. At that moment a group of guards arrived. With a demon, are they cockroaches or what? Issei said, somewhat annoyed. When they were going to fight, a wild Urza appeared, beating all the guards with speed. Urza, they all said, happy to see her. Well, honestly, I already imagined that you would come out unscathed, Issei commented, since he sees Urza as a strong woman. What are you doing here? Urza said with some annoyance, but there was also concern in her voice. What do you mean, why? We were worried about you, Gray said. Yes, Lucy said. It doesn't matter, go back, this is a place where you shouldn't be, said Urza. Don't talk nonsense, Urza. If we chicken out it would affect the name of Fairy Tale, Natsu said seriously. No, I said go back, Urza ordered seriously. Happy was kidnapped, I have to get him back, said Natsu. Happy? Miliana, said Urza, knowing who did it. Where is it? The pink-haired boy asked. I don't know, Urza said. I understand, Natsu said seriously. What did you understand? Issei asked, looking at his friend. Happy is waiting for me, Natsu shouted, running away from the place, disappearing as he left the room. That idiot, Gray said, shaking his head. We'll go too, Lucy said. No, Urza shouted, using her sword to block her path. Miliana loves cats, she won't hurt Happy. I'll go find Natsu and Happy to take them back. You guys go back, she said seriously. Yes, that's not going to happen, said Issei, catching Urza's attention, listening. I don't know you as well as you know me, but in your eyes I can see the fear and worry. It seems you know what this place is and that has you worried. You don't want us to be here because you're worried what could happen to us, but neither Natsu, Gray, Lucy or Juvia will leave since we came for you, he said. It's true, we came to help you and we won't leave you alone here, said Lucy. This is none of your business, it's just my problem, said Urza. No, now it's ours too, said Gray. Urza, what is this tower? Who is Gels? Lucy asked. Urza didn't say anything, she just turned her back on them. It's okay that you don't want to tell us, it may be a bit difficult, but we are your friends, and if you don't see us who just joined the guild as such, there is also Gray whom you have known since you were a child, so say it with confidence, because we will help you with all our power to solve this problem that bothers you so much, said Issei. Being that the truth is, she may also have a hard past just like her friends in her world had. Urza didn't say anything, but after Issei's words she began to tremble. Go away, she said with a trembling voice. You don't seem like yourself, Urza. Why don't you stop telling us those things and tell us, follow me, like you always do? We'll help you. You also have the right to feel afraid and you know it, said Gray. Urza turned around, revealing her tearful expression. Gray got nervous, he thought he had screwed up. In the end, Urza was a human, and as such, she has feelings. She is not always that powerful warrior that everyone knows as Titania. She is also a girl who, deep inside, hides a past pain that still torments her today. In this battle, win or lose, I will disappear from this world no matter what I do, Urza said with a sad expression that surprised everyone. What do you mean by that? Issei asked with a grimace. It's an inevitable event, so while I'm still alive, I'll tell you, and so Urza began to tell what happened. The tower where they were is known as the Tower of Paradise, or System R. 10 years ago it was created by occult followers of dark magic with the purpose of resurrecting the dead. Since it was considered taboo and dangerous, it was immediately banned by the Magic Council. So they kidnapped people from various countries to use them as slaves to build that tower. Urza being one of those many kidnapped. The news shocked everyone, they didn't expect that. And it got worse. Gels is the name of a girl who, along with the boys who took her away, shared hard times at this place. She was good, kind and brave, unlike her who was a coward back then. She recounted the harsh experiences she had as a slave, how they were mistreated, how they were beaten for the slightest mistake, how they were tortured to exhaustion and used to death. Gels tried several times to escape with the few loved ones he had there, but it was useless. During one of those escapes she was caught and punished, which is when she lost her right eye. And when Gels was captured when she killed 3 guards in retaliation for that, it sparked Urza's courage to start a revolt. The revolt was great, and in the middle of it he lost a man he came to consider a grandfather, a man named Rob who belonged to Fairy Tale. There he awakened his magic and attacked all the guards, killing several of them in a fit of rage. He made his way to where Gels was being held, but when he arrived he noticed that she had changed. She had transformed into a monster according to her words, someone cruel and ruthless. She was no longer that girl whom I admired so much for her bravery. She tried to make her see reason, but it was useless, since she had been possessed by a dark force that changed her completely. In the end Gels let her go, but only her, leaving her unconscious, and when she woke up she appeared on the shores of a beach in fury. After hearing Urza's sad story, everyone was shocked, mortified, not believing that at a young age she was turned into a slave and lived in a precarious environment. I have to defeat Gels, Urza said, bringing the others out of their thoughts. Wait, that Zerif isn't? Gray said, dismayed. Yes, the same Zerif who is the most cruel and ruthless dark magician that has ever existed, said Issei. I read about the R system, a forbidden magic that breaks the only natural law, death, and this was created by the Zerif cult, so that means that Gel's goal is only one revive Zerif, he said, surprising everyone. It can't be, Lucy said, dismayed. Are you crazy? Gray said in shock. Urza looked down. She had complicated feelings. I don't know what he wants to do, but if Sho told the truth, by resurrecting Zerif they hope to be able to rule the new paradise he created for them, said Urza, somewhat dismayed by the current situation. I don't know what Gels told them, but the truth is that I abandoned them in this place 8 years ago. So I guess that can be called treason, she said with a sad smile. But they threatened you, she forced you to leave because if not she would kill you all, Issei said seriously. Still, I have to defeat her, it's the only way to end this, Urza said. Issei just looked at her, she wouldn't back down. Then a dark-skinned man with blonde hair appeared, wearing a red suit, looking hurt. Sho, said Urza, looking at who was once one of her friends. Sister, that story, do you really think you can win the sympathy of your friends with such a lie? Sho said, annoyed. She then told a different version of the story, with her being the one to blame for destroying the ships and escaping, leaving them stranded there, with Gels being the one to warn them about her betrayal in time before setting sail and dying like the others who had already done so. Telling them that she was consumed by his magic and entered a state of madness, thus she left to free herself from all her past and from them. And what if that's also a lie? Issei said, looking at the blonde. Huh! What are you saying? Gels would never lie to us, Sho said angrily. And why is Urza the liar? Why is she the bad one? What if it was just a plan to keep them in this place for 8 years? Said Issei, annoying the blonde even more. Yes, would the Urza you knew be capable of something like that? Lucy said seriously. What you said sounds like nonsense to me, Gray said. Grr, you guys don't know anything, only Gel's words could save us, that's why we spent 8 years finishing this tower. It was because of her, Sho said with a somewhat complicated expression. And that's why I say, what if he simply told them what they wanted to hear? People usually take advantage of the weakness of others to get to the bottom of their hearts, and you and the rest of your friends are proof of that, Issei said. Sho was beginning to doubt, he was undecided. Was what Urza said true? Did Gels use them? Did he lie to them? Did he make them hate the one they loved the most as family? He's right, said a male voice when for a moment a layer of darkness appeared behind Issei, and then the metal-jawed subject who attacked Gray and Juvia appeared. This guy, Gray said, about to attack, but Issei stopped him. Calm down, said Issei, as he had recently been able to sense the presence of this guy, but he did nothing when he saw that he showed no hostility towards them. Simon, Urza said, looking at her old friend. I did everything possible to trick you all and bring them all to the tower, said Simon, looking at the one who is like his little brother. No, why you? Why you too? Sho said, almost crying. Sho, Everyone has been deceived by gels, said Simon, putting a hand on the blonde's shoulder. I had to participate until the right moment, he said. Simon, you Urza couldn't believe it. I believed in you, Urza, always since 8 years ago, said Simon, looking at Urza. She smiled and walked over to hug him. It was a touching moment for everyone, the reunion of two old friends who were separated by the sinister plans of someone they trusted very much. Why? Why could you believe in her so much? Why was I not able to believe in my sister? Sho said, kneeling on the ground and crying. The ending was broken, still debating which truth to believe. Urza comforted him, telling him that she would never forget them all these years. And so in the end everything was forgotten between them. Now what do we have to do? Gray asked. I spent all these years hoping to gather a group of powerful wizards in this place to fight gels. We all have to work together to achieve it, Simon said, but first, we have to stop Vali from facing Salamander, he said. Well, we have to hurry before that happens, said Issei. Yes, Flammadas won't stop until he gets happy back, said Gray. Then let's look for them, said Simon. Any idea where they might be? Lucy asked. I don't know, but we have to hurry. Natsu Drangneil and you will be very helpful with this, said Simon, looking at Issei. And so the group to defeat gels was formed. Top of the tower. Is it okay to let them do whatever they want? Asked a guy with black hair and a condor nose XD. Yes, leave them. It's more fun that way, said to a blue-haired woman with a tattoo on her right eye. She is Gels Fernandez. But this could be counterproductive to the plan we have to carry out. Why don't we go catch Urza and proceed with the ceremony? Said the condor nose. Then why don't you go yourself, Vidaldis? Said Gels, approaching a chess board to move a piece. Are you sure? Vidaldis asked. Yes, after all they already moved, said Gels, moving a piece on the board, which is a guitar, standing next to an owl doll and a pink-haired doll. The subject smiled, and after laughing madly he transformed into a totally different subject. His appearance looks like Kiss with long, well-groomed black hair. Then 2 more individuals appeared. A man with an owl head and wings next to a beautiful woman in a white kimono holding a large katana in an elegant posture. The Assassins' Guild of the Skull Assembly, Vidaldis Taka, Fukuro and their commander, Ikaruga, Trinity Raven. Now it's your turn, Gels said with a smile. The 3 then left, but Gels, as he returned to his throne, looked at something behind it. It was something humanoid in appearance with blade-like arms. It was large and even gave her a bad feeling. It's not time for you to act yet, he said with a smile, looking at the humanoid whose 3 pairs of red eyes shone. With Ophis. It's not here either, said the dragon deity, seeing a different world which was arid and lifeless. She has already traveled through 13 worlds, with different life forms and different beings. But in none of them did he feel Issei. She can easily feel it wherever she is. In the end they have a connection that is barely tenuous, and that is why she gets confused when traveling to different worlds. She opened another gap which she entered and moved, feeling the tenuous connection she has with Issei. You have to find it quickly, because everyone is waiting for you. It can't be, old man, he said, seeing a colossal corpse of a red dragon with its head missing, said head being the one a few meters away on a huge piece of land. She approached the corpse. Perhaps in all her years she had not felt much empathy for other beings, but she could not help but shed a few tears. In the end, Big Red lived with her since she was a little baby. But the sadness was replaced by fear, because to kill such a powerful being, he must be more powerful. She doesn't understand what happened. No, she does, she just didn't think it was that dangerous. Now what will I do? All the worlds are doomed, she said, holding her head while shaking. She saw what they were capable of, saw how dangerous they could be. Many worlds destroyed, billions of lives cut short. And she could only watch, because in the end she could not be a match for them. At that I noticed something, like the enormous body began to blur into red energy, which dispersed throughout the dimensional gap. Little by little the gigantic body of the most powerful dragon faded away, leaving nothing, or so he thought, until he saw something. What is this? He said, taking a small red orb that shone brightly. The orb emanated an incredible amount of energy, so much that it was suffocating. At that the orb left her hands, rising several meters to move at a speed that she could barely grasp, getting lost in the void of the gap. Wait, don't tell me that, old man. Did you leave behind offspring? She said, surprised, because ever since she met Great Red, he was never interested in reproducing or anything like that. She stood up and took out a pair of white wings and then began to fly towards where she watched the sphere go away. Whatever it is, I hope it helps, or else we're all doomed, he said, placing his hopes on the small sphere of power left by the strongest dragon. Chapter 24. Shortly after, the group ran through the halls of the tower, going up while searching for Natsu. Shit, they blocked my contact with Wally and Miliana, complained Simon. Now I don't know where they can be, he said, annoyed. Contact? Lucy said, confused. Thought transmission magic, Issei said, and Simon agreed. Without that contact I won't be able to know where they are, much less where Salamander is, said Simon. They walked for a while longer, climbing a large flight of stairs. Can we really trust him? I mean, I know he's Urza's friend and everything, but he attacked us, do you know? Gray said. If I had wanted to kill them, I would have done it a long time ago, said Issei. Honestly, if they were wizards who died from attacks like that, they wouldn't be able to confront Gels, Simon said. What exactly was that crystal creature that attacked me? Issei asked. I don't know. Gels gave it to me saying that it could distract you while we brought Urza, said Simon. That piece of crap could have blown up everything within a 210-kilometer radius if it had gotten out of control, Issei said, surprising everyone. Really? Lucy asked. Yes, I don't know where it got it, but that thing was dangerous, said Issei. I'm sorry, I didn't know that, but that just shows how strong you are, said Simon. Don't worry, I'll get even with the author of this mess, said Issei, dismissing the problem. The group continued forward, climbing several floors in a short time. Sure, they had to defeat several guards, but it was easy for them to defeat them. Going up one more floor, numerous mouths emerged from the walls and ceiling, stopping the group. I welcome you to the Tower of Paradise, the female voice was heard that was familiar to Issei and Urza. Gels, Urza said, frowning. Wait, isn't that Councilwoman Sieg? Issei asked, drawing everyone's attention. Wait, what? Lucy said, surprised. Yes, it's literally the same voice, Issei said. I am Gels and I am the one who controls this tower. All the pieces are in place, and it is time to start the game of paradise, she said gracefully. A game? Issei said. She's crazy, said Juvia. The rules are simple. I want to sacrifice Urza to revive Zareth. In short, if I manage to open the gates of paradise, I win, she said. He's not crazy, it's more than that, Issei said seriously. Sho silently trembled and clenched his teeth. He was afraid. If you manage to stop me, you win, but to make this game more interesting, I have 4 powerful warriors on my side. To reach me you have to overcome them. It's a 4 against 9 fight, she explained. I don't like this at all, Lucy commented, getting nervous. Oh, I almost forgot, to give them incentive, the Magic Council could attack this place using the square satellite, with the ultimate magic that can destroy everything in its path, Aetherion, she said, alarming everyone. It can't be. Using such a thing, Lucy said, terrified. Issei became even more serious. This escalated into something more dangerous. It is not known when they will attack, but once they do we will all die, and so there will be no winners. In other words, game over, he said, scaring those present even more. Issei thought, according to the writings he read, that it would be enough to destroy a country, but that's according to the calculations they made due to the enormous magical power he has. There is no other way, we have to try, said Issei, making everyone see him. I will rise as the Sekyudai, who keeps the essence of the king high, he began to murmur, while a red aura began to cover him. But what? Simon was surprised, as he felt Issei's power begin to rise. Everyone stepped back, as this time it was different than when he did it with Phantom Lord. Holding on to absolute hope and the indestructible dream as I walked the path of justice, then the gauntlet appeared on his left arm as his power increased further, making the place tremble. Simon and Sho were surprised. Issei's power was enormous, although that did not prevent Sho from getting behind Urza, who was watching everything with some surprise. I will become the Crimson Dragon Emperor, said Issei, being covered by a blinding red light that made everyone close their eyes. I'm sorry, sister, said Sho, taking the opportunity to lock Urza in a letter. Sho, what are you doing? Urza said, surprised. Sho didn't wait and started running away from the place. And I will guide you to the paradise that shines with the true crimson color. And with that the transformation ended. Crimson Cardinal full drive. It resonated throughout the place, and the crimson armor appeared. Without its wings, of course. Wow, how much power, said Simon, surprised. Wait, Urza's not here, Juvia said, seeing the redhead's absence. Simon saw that and knew immediately. Sho, damn it, I have to go after him. You guys go find Natsu, said Simon, running down a random path. Shit, these guys do whatever they want, Gray said, annoyed. Juvia and I see Salma will go that way, Juvia said, pointing to the left. Why did you take out the armor? Gray asked. This could get tough, so we have to be prepared, Issei said. Now we have to look for Natsu. But there are several problems. They took Urza and those 4 guys that we will face, he said. Yes, this is a difficult situation, said Gray. How will we split up? Lucy asked. You go with them, I'll go after Sho. I'm worried something might happen to Urza, Gray said, starting to run where Simon went, leaving Issei with the 2 girls. Then let's go for. But the brown-haired boy remained silent when he felt an unpleasant sensation. I see? Lucy asked. Girls, go over there. I'll catch up with you in a moment, said Issei, looking directly at a dark hallway. Juvia and Lucy were confused and looked where the brunette saw. Bam, 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 bam. At that moment, heavy footsteps were heard approaching, and from the darkness 3 pairs of red dots lit up as a large silhouette began to be seen. Bam, 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 bam. A few more steps and that became clear. But what is that thing? Lucy said, getting nervous. The being is humanized, although its head was in the shape of a crescent facing upwards, with a completely metallic body and robust legs. In its hands it holds sharp and long blades that point downwards. Its color is brown with silver. This being was large, 3.5 meters, fitting right in the hallway. But the worst thing, and what only Issei managed to feel, was the power of this one. It was strong, and it gave off a completely unknown type of energy that was neither ether nano nor energy from its world. The robot, because it was that, a robot, looked at the trio, its eyes blinking and then fixing merely on Issei. Divine Draconic Life Form detected, power level Supreme Class, confirmed, imminent threat eliminate. After saying those words with a deep mechanized voice, the being entered combat mode, charging that silver energy into its blades. Run, Issei shouted, summoning the 2 Ascalons into his arms. Juvia wanted to help, but if even Issei was worried, that means this is something serious. So he took Lucy by the arm and they went another way, away from the place. We have to help them, Lucy said. We'll just get in the way. I see Salma will take care of that thing, Juvia said without stopping. Seconds after the girls left, the brunette blocked an attack with her swords. Clank, boom. The impact was strong, destroying the floor beneath them and causing them to fall. Although Issei felt it, this thing is strong. Damn it, Issei complained. He summoned the sword on his tail, trying to tarnish the robot, but it quickly dodged, taking a great distance from Issei. That thing is not normal, partner, said Drake. Tell me something I don't know. I don't know what it is, but it's not from this world or ours, said Issei. The robot threw itself at Issei at an almost imperceptible speed. While doing so, it launched countless slashes that cut through the walls as if they were butter. As best he could, Issei blocked all the attacks. He knows that if any of those hits him, it could be fatal. The robot gave a double downward slash that the brown-haired boy blocked, but he opened his mouth and charged a beam of that silver energy that he fired, causing Issei to dodge it by the skin of his teeth. Fire! The attack swept across the entire place, then a loud explosion was heard that shook the tower. The robot quickly began to attack at high speed again. Its objective was to tear the chestnut apart no matter what. You must finish it now. If you continue like this, you could end up in danger, said Drake. I'm trying, but this thing reacts at high speed and we're in a small space, said Issei, and then it's true, and with that he threw himself against the creature using the night form. It was a strong tackle, and the robot took advantage by delivering a volley of blows to the back. Ugh, the brown-haired boy complained, because whatever that energy was, it seemed to ignore the armor's defense, causing internal damage directly. Bam! The chestnut achieved his goal of getting that robot out of the tower. He let go of it, watching as it began to fall. It's time to finish, Issei said, summoning 2 cannons on his shoulders which he began to charge. Boost beep 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 beep. Immediately the error sound ranged out, and the increase was massive. But something happened. That robot grew wings on its back, wings like a cockroach. And the worst thing, it was fast, being able to close the distance with Issei. Damn it, Issei said, thickening his armor to receive the attack, but the cuts destroyed the outer layer of the thick arms of the armor. Bam! The chestnut tree hit the tower and returned inside. Shit, said Issei, feeling pain in his arms. It was a lot and strange, as if they were being cut but at the same time not. That robot came looking at Issei, wanting to destroy him. The robot then grew 2 more limbs, but this time one of them had sharp blades. Damn, this thing only gets more dangerous, said Issei, watching as that thing approached. Without further ado, he summons the wyverns to gain some more time, because he has to go all out if he wants to defeat that thing. The wyverns attacked. With surges and splits they drove that thing out of the tower. Okay, it's time to use it, Issei said, starting to charge his power. His armor was covered in black flames, his God Slayer flames. He has been training this, just in case he needs to attack to kill a difficult or powerful enemy. It's painful but effective. With fire and increases, his black fire covered his entire being and increased his temperature. But he didn't stop there. He summoned the swords, covering them in black fire. Without further ado, he left the tower again, causing an explosion of black flames that covered the place but were strangely absorbed by the walls of the tower. The brown-haired boy watched as that thing destroyed the last of his wyverns. Now yes, reload on fire, Issei said the name of this technique. Highly dangerous target proceeding to exterminate, said the robot, preparing its weapons and emitting more of that strange energy. The 2 of them threw themselves at each other, colliding, causing a loud explosion of black and silver that caused a strong shockwave. The brown-haired boy threw slashes that the robot blocked and returned, so Issei had to use all his speed to overcome it, but he reacted easily to his speed. The brown-haired boy took the opportunity to punch him in the chest, pushing him away. He then summoned his wyverns again to surround it, although this time there were more. About 20 wyverns surrounded the robot like flies, being quickly cut down by the robot. But that was all Issei needed. Goodbye, Scraps, said Issei with his arms extended, one pointing towards the robot and the other backwards, concentrating his flames in the palm of each hand. Dragon burner, he shouted, throwing 2 torrents of flames towards the sides he pointed. The robot took cover, receiving the enormous attack that engulfed it in a great torrent of black flames. Boost, boost, beep 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 beep. But the brown-haired boy didn't leave it there. He increased the power of the flames further, thus increasing the radius of the attack. Armor dropping to critical state, defenses deficient, heat level exceeding the imposed limit, error sending data at, but the robot could not continue as its systems failed. And BOOM! A powerful black explosion created a strong wave of hot wind that shook the tower. That was the end of that strange robot. Damn, I used a lot of power there, said Issei, undoing the flames and feeling tired. First that crystal creature and now this robot. Something is definitely going on here, said Drake. Yes, this is not normal, not in this world, said Issei. Am I not the only one who has come to this world? Was his question. It's a possibility, said Drake. Anyway, move, you have to help stop that redhead's friend, he said. True, said Issei, looking at the top of the tower, and I'll take a shortcut, he said, starting to fly towards the top of the tower. When I had already traveled a good distance, I noticed something. It was Natsu fighting a guy with an owl head and wings who has a huge rocket pack on his back. But what the hell? Issei said, seeing that. But he passes by, he knows that Natsu is strong, so he will know how to take care of that alone. He just kept going up until a powerful internal force suddenly pulled him into the tower. Ugh, he complained as he felt that enormous force pulling him inside. The chestnut stood up confused. He doesn't know what happened, but it seems that Gels had already thought of something in case someone was thinking of coming up from outside. It's you, and Sho arrived at the bridge where Issei ended up. Issei Urza said, still inside the cart. You are really fast. said Issei, surprised at how he climbed so many meters from the point where they were before. There are shortcuts, but that doesn't matter, I have to go stop Gels, Sho said. I think it won't be possible, said Issei, standing up while putting his hands on his hips. It was really exhausting fighting that bucking robot, he said, surprising Sho. You defeated Gel's secret weapon? He said in surprise. Huh? Did you know about that? Issei asked. I heard by chance that he found a powerful metallic being on a small island 200 kilometers from here, Sho said. I see, Issei said. They were going to continue but were interrupted. Tack, 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 tack. The sound of wooden heels was heard. Both turned to see who it was and noticed the pink-haired woman who was with Gels before. Ikaruga. My name is Ikaruga. It's a pleasure, she said politely. Wow, you have a good walk, Issei commented, looking at the woman. Fufufu, thanks. It took me a lot of practice to get it right, Ikaruga said with a smile. Ugh, damn it, I don't have time for this, Sho shouted angrily. But what a violent man, said Ikaruga, covering her mouth with the sleeve of her kimono. Sho got more angry and attacked using his cards, but when they were about to reach her, she quickly unsheathed her sword, cutting all the cards with precision and speed, breaking them in a way that was almost impossible for anyone. Issei frowned. She is good. It can't be, Sho said incredulously as he watched me cut his cards. There is nothing under this sun that my sword cannot cut, Ikaruga said with a confident smile. I see, that's surprising, Issei said, complimenting her style. Thank you, but that will do nothing to save you, they must be eliminated, said Ikaruga. I know, we are enemies after all, said Issei, but instead of attacking, he quickly took Urza's letter from Sho. Hey, give it back to me, Sho said. No, free Urza, Issei said. But a cannon pointed at his face silenced him. Don't be foolish, you can't defeat her, and I have to save energy for Gels, so release her, said Issei. Sho trembled. The cannon was loaded and he knows that Issei will not hesitate to shoot, so with no other option he released Urza. Thanks for that, Urza said. Yes, just fight her, Issei said, taking Sho to give the redhead space to fight. Era, why do I feel like I'm being underestimated? Ikaruga said. We don't. In fact, Urza is one of the strongest women I know, Issei said, walking away. And why don't you face me? Didn't you eliminate Kuro the Doom? Or what about the Dark Guild Yami? Didn't you kill them? Said Ikaruga, causing Urza to be surprised and look at Issei, who had his back turned. Yes, and so what? I can't cover the sun with a finger, said Issei, looking at her over his shoulder, undoing his helmet, and I don't regret it. In fact, they were already wanted and I was just in the exact time and place to eliminate them, he said without much problem. Urza didn't believe what she was hearing. Has Issei really already killed? Anyway, you are not the target to defeat, you are simply another step in this tower, so fight with Urza, because if I do it you will not like what I do at all, said Issei, walking away while taking Sho. Urza is still surprised to know that Issei has already killed before. Although she is not one to say anything, she also killed more than one guard who captured them years ago in this same tower. Well, that's too bad. I thought provoking him would make him want to fight me, but I have to settle for you, said Ikaruga, looking at Urza. I have nothing against you, so get out of the way, Urza said seriously. But then Ikaruga moved her sword at a speed that couldn't be caught by Urza, who ended up losing the armor breastplate she always wears. Issei saw that from a distance. What speed, Sho said, totally surprised. Issei was the only one capable of capturing the speed of the cuts. She was able to launch 18 cuts in less than a second and with such precision that they only destroyed the armor without touching the shirt she was wearing underneath. That was a greeting, didn't you see it? Ikaruga asked with a hint of mockery in his voice. Urza was shocked by that just now. They were so thickened in going with Gels that they didn't notice the wind blades surrounding them, Ikaruga said without wiping the smile off her face as she prepared for the next attack. Urza didn't say anything. She became serious and summoned her first armor, the Heaven's Wheel armor. Immediately Ikaruga attacked with a slash that Urza dodged by jumping while summoning several swords to form a circle and attack. Circle of the Sky, said Urza, launching her attack against the Pinkette, who smiled confidently. Mujetsu Ryasha Senku, and she threw many quick slashes that cut the swords that were thrown by Urza. The redhead descended, and as soon as she touched the ground her armor was destroyed, causing her a lot of damage. Urza screamed in pain. Sister Sho shouted but was held back by Issei. Let me go, my sister needs help, he said, annoyed. Issei didn't say anything and continued watching. He was thinking about something. But Ikaruga didn't wait for anything and continued with his attack. Mujetsu Ryu Karura, and she imbued her sword with fire to spin and launch a powerful wave of fire. Take over Fire Empress armor. Urza put on the armor that reduces fire damage, receiving the attack head-on, being dragged until she was a few meters close to the brunette and the blonde. An armor that reduces fire damage? You are amazing at being able to change armor in an instant, said Ikaruga. Seconds later Urza's armor was destroyed, leaving only what was necessary to cover her. Oh dear, we must not let the knights see you in that state, said Ikaruga mockingly, causing Urza to get angry. I recommend that you use the most powerful armor you have, she said, challenging her. Urza was going to summon her best armor, but... Wait, Issei said, getting her attention. I think I have something for you, he said, confusing her. Then 5 wyverns appeared, one of them being white. Seeing the exchange of blows between the two of them, she noticed that Urza was slower than Ikaruga, but she knows that in terms of power Urza surpasses her. So seeing as the redhead is someone who uses armor for combat, he thought of something that would benefit her a lot. He closed his eyes and visualized Urza's body in his mind, quickly remembering what he did with Rias and Zenobia. The wyverns glowed and stuck to Urza, surprising her. Ikaruga watched this with interest, although she is confident that no matter what she puts forward, in the end she will win. Urza was covered in a red glow that faded to reveal something that made the brunette sigh in relief. Urza now has red armor with gold details, although the armor's breastplate is white with a blue gem. Urza looked at her hands, feeling the power run through her body. Boost, and when he heard that word come out of the gem on his left arm, his power increased further. Transfer, but Issei didn't leave her alone with that and transferred 20 increases to her. Urza felt the increase in power. It was a lot. She felt better than ever. Take this too, Issei said, throwing Ascalon to Urza, who held it. Urza looked at the sword and then looked at the brunette, who smiled at her, giving a thumbs up. Go and show him the power of Titania, said Issei with complete confidence in Urza. Seeing that smile full of confidence towards her made her remember her friends, those she did not protect and those who are giving everything of themselves to help her. She believed that putting on armor would protect her from her past, enclosing her heart in those armors that she uses so much to fight. Now he understands that he was simply hiding his fear in that armor, the fear of not being strong enough to take care of his own. He couldn't do it before, but now it's different. She has people who love her, who appreciate her for who she is, who will always be there for her. Thanks, I'll finish this in a moment, said Urza, giving the brown-haired boy a smile. You know, you should smile more often. You have a nice smile, Issei said, making her laugh. Fool, she said, turning around to face her opponent. Have you finished your crude talk? Ikaruga asked. Yes, don't worry, it's time to finish you off, said Urza, confident in the power that this armor gives her. HMP, no matter what kind of armor you have, my sword will cut everything in its path, Ikaruga said, prepared. Urza brandished Ascalon, and with a red aura covering her, she launched herself at speed. Ikaruga was surprised. The speed was such that it made a small wind wave after going head-on. The pinkette blocked Ascalon's attack but was dragged several meters back. But Urza gave her no mercy. She kicked the woman to the side, who managed to cover herself, but was thrown further away. Ikaruga absorbed the blow, as it turned out to be heavier than she expected. Urza charged magical energy into Ascalon, creating an ether nano blade, and then threw a cross slash. The attack was devastating, cutting off all the Taurus on the bridge. Mujetsu Ryu Yasha Senku. Ikaruga cut the attack with her sword. She was surprised. Apparently that armor was good, I admit it. You surprised me, but you won't catch me off guard again, she said, launching herself against Urza. Urza prepared another attack, but too late. Ikaruga was in front of her, ready to attack Yasha Senku. She threw a volley of attacks ready to destroy the armor, but reflecting that the cuts collided with some kind of invisible barrier, and to Ikaruga's surprise, they were reflected on it. Aya, Ikaruga screamed, feeling the weight of his attacks on her, getting many cuts. The woman's kimono was turned into tatters, revealing her white skin, and a rolled-up cloth hung around her chest. Ikaruga was defeated, though. Trash. Urza's armor was damaged, only the breastplate was intact. Well, now all that's left is to go against your frenzy, said Issei, approaching, seeing the defeated Ikaruga. Ugh, this is the first time that I've lost a fight since I joined the guild, said Ikaruga. Sore and tired, but it's useless. In 15 minutes all of you are destined to lose, she said. What do you mean? Urza asked. It will fall from the sky, a light of justice bringing death, she said, as if it were a poem. Ach, what a horrible poem, she said, falling unconscious. Could it be that he is referring to Aetherion? Issei asked. That's most likely, Urza said to Sho. Go with Simon and the others. They have to go as far away from this place as possible, she said. Huh. But Sho was surprised by such a request. Would you do it for me? Urza asked with a soft smile. Sho just lowered his head, knowing that there were no buts that were worth it. Go, she won't be alone, said Issei, standing next to Urza, revealing that he is taller than her because of the armor she is still wearing. Huh. But you also have, Urza was going to say something but was interrupted by Issei. You won't make me change my mind. We don't know what dangers there are with your gels, so we have to be prepared, said Issei. She looked at the brown-haired boy and sighed. Okay, Urza said, knowing that Issei will not give in. In the end, Sho left, leaving the duo alone, but Issei looked at Ikaruga. What's wrong? Urza asked. She's good, you know? I feel like it's a waste of her using her abilities like this, Issei said. Do you want to join her with us? She's not like Juvia, she belongs to a dark guild, Urza said, frowning. I know, but he wouldn't join Fairy Tail, said Issei, creating a small magic circle from which he took out an elegant golden-edged box with the Hyoudou Issei symbol on it. Under Urza's curious gaze, he opened the box and looked at what was inside. Chess pieces? Urza was confused, but there were a lot of pieces missing. Well, there are things I haven't told you yet, but if we get through this, I'll gladly tell you who Hyoudou Issei really is, said the brown-haired boy with a small smile as he took the pawn piece out of his case. I look at Ikaruga, who is still breathing heavily, gave some increases and transferred them to the pinkette. What are you doing? Urza asked, knowing what augmentations do. Issei didn't answer and looked at the pink-haired girl, who could barely open her eyes, even though she was tired and at her limit, having lost a lot of blood. What do you want from me? Ikaruga asked, looking at the brown-haired boy. Tell me, do you want to live? Issei asked, confusing Urza and the pink-haired girl. Huh? Ikaruga expressed her bewilderment. Do you want to live? Do you want to stay alive? Issei asked. What nonsense, of course I want it, said Ikaruga. But you are at death's door, you don't have much time left, said Issei. And why do you ask me? Said Ikaruga. I can give you a second chance, Issei said, surprising Urza. What do you mean? Ikaruga looked at him confused. I can help you not to die, but that leads to something you may not want, said Issei. Urza remained silent. She was confused as to what Issei would do. Ikaruga looked at him. What does he mean? Will he save her? What do you want in return? Ikaruga asked. That you serve me, no more, no less, said Issei. Huh? Urza didn't know what to say. Was he suggesting making her his slave? Serve you? As a slave or as a servant? Ikaruga asked. As a partner, it's complicated, but in short, you would stop being human, Issei said, strongly drawing the attention of both of them. Will I stop being human? Ikaruga asked. Yes, you will be half demon. Tell me, do you want to try it or just die in this place? Issei asked. Issei, what the hell are you saying? Demon? Give him a second chance? Urza asked, totally bewildered. As I said, if we get out of here, I will tell you and the others who I really am, said Issei without looking at her. Then? He asked Ikaruga. She thought, is he serious about what he says? Will he give her a second chance? What's crazier, is he really going to turn half demon? Is he going to be like those monsters that the legends say? But little by little she began to feel lighter. She has little time left. Issei didn't say anything else. If it's his decision to die, he will respect it, and they will continue on their way. It's okay, said Ikaruga. In the end, she wants to live, nobody wants to die. Besides, she wants to see what happens now that she accepts that. Good, and with that, the brown-haired boy took out of his storage space an elegant black box with gold edges, with the Hyoudou Issei symbol on the lid. The brown-haired boy opened the box, revealing his evil pieces. 8 pawns and a rook, the only pieces he now possesses. The brown-haired boy took out the tower, and channeling energy into it, he brought it closer to Ikaruga's body. But the piece was not suitable for her, so she moved on to take 2 pawns just in case. And that was the right thing to do. She's strong, thought Issei, seeing that the pink-haired girl was proving to be someone exceptional and getting 2 of her pawns. Under Urza's stunned gaze, the brunette proceeded with the reincarnation ritual. I, Hyoudou Issei, order you, Ikaruga, to rise as a new being and become my servant. As your new master, I will grant you a new life, said Issei, while a magic circle with the crest of the Hyoudou Issei appeared below Ikaruga, shining brightly. Urza saw the process. It seemed like something simple, but she feels that it is not as simple as it seems. Issei placed the 2 pawns on Ikaruga's chest, and they entered her body, and then... Huh! Ikaruga sat down after a few seconds. Am I okay? She said, no longer feeling as much pain as before. Urza was stunned. Now the pinkette was fine despite being almost dead from her own attack against her. Well, it's ready now, Issei said with a sigh. Ikaruga looked at Issei. This is not normal now. She was sure she was about to die, but now she is fine, and all because of that strange ritual. Whatever, we wasted a lot of time here. We have to stop that crazy frenzy of yours, said Issei, getting his act together. Yes, but you'll have to explain all this later, Issei said. If there is a later, said the brown-haired boy to see Ikaruga. I know this is weird, but now I'm basically your master, you're my servant, meaning, I'm your boss. So as a first order, it's better that you get out of here before everything explodes. Then we'll talk about the terms of the contract, he said, beginning to walk away with Urza. Ikaruga sat there watching them leave. This damn, said Ikaruga, knowing that now her life is about to change. The 2 quickly advanced up the few remaining floors to reach the top. They did not say anything to each other. They both had one goal in mind. Defeat Gels. After a while, they came to some doors that led to the end of the spiral staircase. They opened it, and saw a large open space with a roof supported by pillars, allowing a view of the outside and how the sun was setting on the horizon. In the center of the place there is a huge sky blue tear. And standing in front of a chessboard was a hooded woman with blue hair. And the game is over, said the woman facing them. They turned out to be harder than I thought, but well, the order of the factors does not alter the product, she commented, revealing her face. It can't be, Councilwoman Issei said, surprised. No, she's Gels. Siga's her twin sister, Urza said seriously, still holding Ascalon. No matter how you look at it, it's her. The 2 share the same essence, and that's impossible to replicate even for twins, said Issei, surprising Urza. Wow, you impress me. How did you know? Gels asked, surprising Urza even more. Damn it then, Etherion, you're insane, Urza shouted angrily, knowing that all this time Gels was infiltrated in the council. Ha ha ha, now there are 5 minutes left for Etherion to shoot and hit us, and they can't stop it. It's inevitable, said Gels with a huge crazy smile. That's what I wanted to hear, said Urza, wielding Ascalon, preparing for battle. We will keep you here as long as necessary until Etherion falls, and we will put an end to this, she said determinedly. No, the 2 of them will fall here and serve as a great sacrifice for Zerif's resurrection, Gels said madly. Damn crazy woman, we're going to kick your ass, Issei said, preparing for battle. The timer is about to end. The final battle is approaching. Anything to stop Gels Fernandez. Chapter 25. Top of the tower. Urza and Issei were before Gels, who was once Urza's best friend but is now the villain of a part of the Redhead story. The blue-haired girl looked at the duo with a confident smile, while carrying a mass of darkness with her left hand. There are less than 4 minutes left until Etherion wipes this place out, so shall we enjoy them? Gels said, smiling. Urza didn't say anything and squeezed Ascalon. Take this, Gels shouted, throwing a huge amount of dark specters towards the duo. Dragon shot, Issei said, throwing a reddish energy beam from his right hand. Gels covered himself with a golden aura and moved quickly, dodging the brown-haired man's attack that destroyed a large part of the peak and destroyed his specters. Urza appeared before the blue-haired girl and threw a slash, but the blue-haired girl managed to dodge it by spinning strangely in the air, and in the process she threw a powerful blow that hit the red-haired girl in the abdomen. Ugh, Urza complained, feeling a lot of pain. Issei appeared before Gels, taking her by surprise. Bam! Gels couldn't help but scream in pain as she felt the force that threw her off the tower, but she quickly recovered using her magic that made her fly. Dark flame, said Issei, spitting out a flame of black fire that the girl had to dodge quickly. But Urza appeared in his path with an Ascalon slash ready to attack. Gels, Urza shouted, throwing the slash that threw a blade of energy that split everything in its path. But the blue-haired girl managed to dodge it, and was surprised by the ditch left by the attack. Gels, seeing the great disadvantage he had, decided to play his hidden card. The ground beneath them shook and something emerged from beneath the throne she was sitting on. You bastard, you have another one of those things, Issei shouted as he watched another robot emerge, but this one was different. It was a metallic black color with yellow eyes. It had 2 horns that formed a V with its head and 2 huge crab-like legs. And unlike the first one, this one gives off a much heavier aura. Urza looked at the bug in surprise. Its mere presence scared her. Ha ha ha, attack that idiot, kill him, Gels ordered the robot, whose eyes lit up when he saw the brown-haired boy. Analyzing divine draconian life form power level supreme class confirmed extremely dangerous target, eliminate. The deep, mechanical voice of that robot surprised Urza, who saw Issei. The robot appeared before Issei in the blink of an eye, shocking Urza, who didn't see it happen. Issei's arms became robust, and he took a hit from one of the robot's pincers. Bam! And the chestnut was taken out of the tower with that thing following him closely. Hee, come on Urza, let's continue our thing, let's fight one last time, said Gels, already confident of being able to deal with the redhead. You wretch, Urza shouted angrily as she squeezed Ascalon, who shone gold, to launch herself into the attack. Issei flew at high speed away from that robot, but it was useless. It was able to keep up with him with ease. That machine is stronger than the previous one. To think that that girl would have something of that caliber with her, Drake commented. Issei stopped dead in his tracks and quickly delivered a powerful punch using the giant fists of the rook form. Bam! But the robot resisted it by barely moving away a few meters, and it pointed its pincers at him and opened them to fire 2 powerful rays of silver energy. The attack was fast and powerful, and the brown-haired boy tried to cover it by creating a shield with the 2 enormous arms of the armor. He received a direct blow to the body. A huge explosion engulfed the chestnut, and he plummeted with his armor falling to pieces. Shit, it's strong, Issei said in pain as he quickly rebuilt the armor. The robot appeared before him again, hitting him with its pincer and with the other firing several spheres of power that the brown-haired boy barely dodged. Issei knows that if he doesn't finish that thing quickly, he won't be able to help Urza. So creating several wyverns, the brown-haired boy took distance while carrying out a risky strategy. The infinite god of brilliant black god of infinite dreams, while Issei recited the chant, a black aura covered his 2 arms that began to change. We will transcend the limits that are believed to be a forbidden existence. The arms of the armor began to change, turning a darker crimson hue. The robot got rid of the wyverns and went straight to Issei. This is the call to the infinite god and all his power. The arms of the armor changed completely while a crimson and black aura covered both arms. Dragon Infinity Drive, and in the end the arms transformed into those of the Dabalos dragon god. The robot arrived, only to be greeted by a powerful punch that threw it several meters closer to the tower where Urza and Gels can be seen fighting while destroying the top. The brown-haired boy began to condense reddish and black energy in his left arm, and then pointed it at the robot. Come on, it's time to take a different approach, Issei said as the aura spread towards the robot, trapping it. After that, a black line crossed from his arm towards the robot, and take it, he shouted using a technique created on the fly. The aura covering the robot intensified, and then the black line turned into black flames that completely covered the robot. Elimination failed, sending battle data, and with those words the robot was covered by a sphere of black fire that shrank and then BOOM! It exploded in a colossal explosion that touched the tower, but Issei now noticed something: how the flames that should destroy the tower were consumed by it, revealing what is really under the tower. A tear, said Issei, seeing the great discovery. But before he could even say anything, he noticed something in the sky. It can't be Urza, he shouted, but it was too late. Like a hammer of justice, a huge magic laser descended, hitting the tower directly. Issei was thrown away by the shockwave. The concentration of magic was dense and powerful, almost like the explosion of a nuclear bomb, but he knows it was even more powerful. The attack lasted for almost a minute when it stopped, but what Issei feared was revealed. The former tower revealed its true self, a gigantic tear that had absorbed all the magic of the laser beam. The chestnut couldn't believe what he was seeing. Could this be what Gels was looking for? There's enough ether nano in that thing to reduce a country to a no-man's land, said Drake. I just hope the boys have escaped, said Issei, approaching the place to see what happened. Upon arriving, he saw Gels pushing Urza into a tear crystal. The chestnut tree descended quickly, creating a crater. Oh, but what a surprise! You managed to stop my secret weapon, but it's useless now. I'm about to accomplish my objective, Gels said with a confident smile. Bastard, Issei looked at Urza, who did everything to not be swallowed by that crystal. Gels took advantage of that to attack. Now with his power at full blast, he believed he could defeat Issei. But he quickly changed his mind and turned away, avoiding a blow that created a wave of wind. I'm going to destroy you, said Issei, looking at her with the green eyes of the armor shining brightly. The brown-haired boy pulled Urza out with one hand, leaving her weakened. Issei, she looked at the brunette. She felt his anger. Natsu, said Issei, confusing the two women. What? Natsu asked, appearing out of nowhere. Take Urza and leave here with her, Issei said without looking at him. Issei? Urza didn't believe what she was hearing. And what will you do? Natsu asked seriously. Isn't it obvious? I'm going to kick this chick's ass, said Issei, looking at Gels, who looked serious. I understand, hit him for me. I won't forgive the fact that he made Urza cry, Natsu said seriously. He would fight, but he knows that Issei would do it in the end. I know, don't worry, just get out of here, said Issei. No, wait, don't do it, said Urza, raising her hand, but Natsu carried her like a sack of potatoes. No, leave me, she said, but she lacked the strength. No, Issei will take care of everything, Natsu said, starting to run away from there. No, Issei, Urza didn't want to leave him there. She doesn't know what could happen with Gels still there. You will not take the sacrifice, said Gels, covering his body with that golden magic misha, he said, increasing his speed explosively. But... Bam! Aka punch sent her back to where she was. Now I am your opponent, said Issei, having intercepted the blue-haired girl. Ugh, damn it, Gels said, watching as Natsu descended the tower quickly. She immediately attacked using her heavenly magic again, moving quickly, trying to overwhelm the brunette. She circled around him looking for a space to attack, but he turned quickly, following her with his gaze. The brown-haired boy extended his hands to the sides and a black and red aura came out of them. The pressure was strong, and Gels was surprised when two spheres of energy, one red and one black, formed in the palm of each hand. I will send you to see your creator, said Issei, bringing both hands closer together, bringing both spheres of energy together. Gels saw that, and opened his eyes as he felt the indiscriminate surge of magic. She rose into the air, seeing that Issei was not following her, and attacked. I'm going to finish you off in one go, she shouted, sure of what she would do. The 7 stars will judge you. 7-star sword, great chariot, she shouted as 7 spheres of energy formed a Big Dipper, and then they descended at great speed towards the brown-haired boy, who continued charging his attack. Boom! A powerful explosion shook the top of the giant lacrima, raising a curtain of smoke from the powerful attack. And I will show you one last light, but the brown-haired boy was now at his height with his attack ready, being a sphere that oscillated between red and black as it grew. Final flash, and with that he fired a powerful energy attack that hit Gels squarely. She screamed as she was consumed by the attack. The attack traveled several meters before ending. In the end, Issei was left, without armor and totally tired. I use a lot of power in that attack and surpass its limit. That girl is lucky. If she had used more power, her body would have been disintegrated, said Drake, seeing Gels totally unconscious with not so serious burns on her body. Ugh, I'm tired, Issei said, kneeling on the ground. The brown-haired boy took a breath. Surely Natsu and Urza are halfway there. Maybe the others are fine and are already far from here. How the hell do I manage to get those robots? He wondered, looking at the unconscious Gels. But he couldn't go on when he felt it. The entire tower shook and felt out of control. The ether nano was getting out of control. Shit, what now? Issei said. It seems that this tower could not contain the large amount of ether nano that the lightning threw at it. If this continues, everything in an area of 100 kilometers will be swept away without a trace, said Drake, understanding the situation. Shit, said Issei, seeing that he is in trouble, because possibly either Natsu or Urza have escaped, much less the others who are possibly in the explosion range. Now you don't know what to do. A moan caught his attention. It was Gels, who just woke up. The brown-haired man approached her, and without any delicacy lifted her even though her breasts were almost exposed. You tell me, how do I stop this damn lacrima from exploding? Issei asked. Gels looked at Issei. He could barely process what he said. Cough, a body channel 27 million magical ideas just like that, and then she fainted again. Shit, wake up, Issei shouted, shaking her, but nothing. Mate, I think I understand what he meant, and I doubt you'll like it, said Drake. What's wrong? Issei asked, although he felt a bad feeling. It seems that a body must be placed in this tear to absorb the energy contained, said Drake. Issei understood, meaning. Shit, Issei said. To avoid the catastrophe, he needs a body to channel the enormous flow of magic, although he does not understand why. Perhaps that is why he referred to Urza as a sacrifice. Issei looked at the unconscious Gels. What he was about to do seemed heartless, but she asked for it. Boom! Damn, he shouted when an explosion made him drop the blue-haired girl, whose body fell into a crack that formed in the ground. Issei ran to see if he could get her body, but it was useless. He saw how she fell into the void, losing herself forever. Issei clenched his fists. This is the worst possible scenario. I never expected to be in a situation like this. No, I've been there, but not like this. Without further ado, he stood up and walked towards a large piece of tear that was sticking out. Everything around them is collapsing, and the ether nano is escaping in the form of lasers traveling in different directions. Are you sure? You may not tell, said Drake. I don't know, Issei said desperately. He still has a lot of living to do. He has to go back to his world, see his parents, the girls, his friends. Finish school, go to university, get a job, get married, have sex with the girls. He doesn't want to die like this. But there were the friends he had made during his time at Fairy Tale. They may not know each other much, but they are good and nice people. They can't die. She would feel bad if she let them die. He sighed and placed his hands on the piece of glass. Drake didn't say anything. In the end, he knew the answer. Ugh, the brown-haired boy felt pain as he began to be absorbed by the tears. It was a strange feeling, like being trapped in a liquid that was too dense. Little by little he was consumed by it, and could only think of one thing before being completely engulfed. Girls, sorry. And then he lost consciousness. On the boat they used to get there were the boys along with 3 of Urza's old friends. It can't be, it's going to explode, Sho shouted, scared. No, look, all the magic goes to the sky, said Gray, watching as a huge torrent of magic went to the sky. The taste of wind was such that Juvia had to enclose them in a sphere of water, but it was carried far away by the great waves. At another point were Simon, Ikaruga, Urza and Natsu, who were in a boat they found on the other side of the tower. Issei, Natsu shouted as they were pushed away by the powerful torrent of wind and water that rose. No, Urza didn't believe what happened. Really? You gave me another chance just to perish? Thought Ikaruga, who thought about what Issei did for her. After almost 2 minutes, everything stopped, and the huge tear lost its shine, beginning to collapse. Issei, Urza thought, feeling guilty about what happened. And so it all ended. The past that tormented her so much disappeared. But at what cost?
Let me know in the comments below if you guys want the next part. Also check out my other video that has been shown in left. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video please like and share this video. And have a fantastic day. Bye.